this on the Rise of Kingdoms Discord as well?
I mean, sure.
Let's see what happens.
Let's go.
How the fuck do you spell toxicity? Oh, shoot.
이 꽃은 나라는 덕으로 다스려야 합니다.
The first topic I'm going to do is the revised R4 duties. I think we kind of all probably agree on that. So it will just kind of be a something to show the people in chat exactly what we're doing, how I plan to document things. Didn't pop Apple's link. Still there, Apple? We put you to sleep already? Okay, alrighty. Just making sure. What is going on, y'all? Welcome to our first ever Commander's Table podcast. We are here live with George from 2377, Mr. Apocalypse Gaming in 1029 and 3777, and Luxta from 3303. Welcome, everybody. We are going to keep it civil today. We're not going to suppress opinions, but if there's anyone out there that is being toxic or personally attacking anyone, especially the guests on the stream who are taking their time out of their busy day to do this, I will not hesitate to click that ban button. So that said, what the hell is Mulan doing here? I don't know. That said, let's get right into it. So today, we are doing a podcast. The four of us want to have a serious discussion from a player's perspective of improvements that we would like to see in this game. Okay, we're going to discuss issues. We're going to discuss what the funny Mad Mania. Come on. Seriously, spend that money on vacation. You need to buy more alcohol.
Freaking go.
We're going to spend some time discussing a lot of things. So I'm going to introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lambo. I play in Kingdom 1029. I am the figurehead, quote unquote figurehead, public figure, voice, R5 whenever they need gems used of 1029. I've been playing this game for almost 6 years. Played in Imperium Kingdoms like 1039, 1052, one Osiris Leagues, and now I'm here playing with friends. Really enjoy this game. This game has come a long way since the beginning. I think we can help with these discussions to make changes that would impact everybody. That said, I'm going to kick it over to George from 2377. Let him introduce himself and provide a background.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm George from 2377, and I'm also the creator of Pro Kingdoms. And I'm honored to be here with Lambo. Thank you, Lambo, for inviting me. And happy to be discussing the topics that we live every day in Rise of Kingdoms.
Thank you, sir. Luxta will go to you. I think everyone knows Apple, but we'll save him for last.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Luxta. I am kind of a part-time content creator, if you could say. Post every once in a while. I've been playing this game for a little bit under 2 years, and I'm part of the leadership in 3303. And Lambo is a good friend of mine, and I appreciate you for having me on. And I'm looking forward to what we're going to discuss for today.
All right, Mr. Boom Boom.
What's up, everybody? This is Apocalypse Gaming. I don't know what to say. This is Apocalypse Gaming. I've been counting. I don't know. Am I introducing myself?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Hello, guys. My name is Apocalypse Gaming. I've been playing Rise of Kingdom for 5.4 years. And I've been making contents for around 4.5 years. And I've been an associate content creator for Rise of Kingdom for just around a year now. So, yeah, boom, boom.
All right, so that said, we're going to roll into some of the topics we have to discuss today. Now, in my real job, I am a business analyst. So I work with 6 different clients, and I take the information that they want to see and the programs that my company makes. I sit down with them, I meet with them, I take them, I write them into formal business requirements documents that we pass on to our development teams. That said, I'm not going to use a specific business requirements document here, but we're going to go through and we're going to talk about what the issue is as we see it with these various topics. We're going to talk about possible solutions with these topics. So the first one, just to get our feet wet, was revise R4 duties. The issue I am currently seeing is with the new R4 officer permissions. In order to allow an officer to place flags, they are also given the permission to edit the alliance profile. So in my opinion, this can be problematic if you have officers assigned from another kingdom. We have coalitions now in KVK, and you want them to have access to place flags. They would also then have access to edit an alliance profile. For example, information management, individual with this duty can send ready checks, edit and delete calendars, edit alliance and troop markers, and edit the alliance profile. So that's an issue in my opinion. The suggestion here to improve that is move the ability to edit the alliance profile from the information management to the administration management, which only the R5 and counselor have access to. Editing alliance profile is huge, right? And I'll bring that up on the screen here real quick so you can see what that does. And I think all four of us are on the same page with this, but if not, please chime in here. So this is the Alliance profile. They can change the Alliance description, the Alliance name, the Alliance tag, if an application is needed or not needed in the language. You can change that welcome email. All right, so that is something that, in my opinion, should be locked down to an R5 or a counselor, and not something that when I'm giving out, or any R5 is giving out these titles to, they have the ability to edit.
I feel like they're so close on making this more granular. They adding more ranks and more customized like options would definitely benefit. I think like everyone would benefit from it. I think they should honestly go a little bit more granular than even like essentially how they've done it here. You know, the info management, like the sections and how they're like managing, like how they see Alliance managed. Maybe you should get another look, or just split off those, kind of similar how like if you go to look through, like if you, anyone is familiar with like Discord moderation or anything like with chat channels, they're very, very granular and very customizable. So I would kind of like to see that personally.
So break it down even further than what they have here.
Yeah, I mean, it can get confusing at a certain point, like if you give someone too many options, but I don't see why not. Like maybe the UI and the way that they have it here, obviously they'd have to redesign it to make it more intuitive as far as like, especially if there's a lot of options and stuff like that. But I think it definitely could be done. I think a lot of people would benefit from that.
And Solar is saying in the current patch notes, they adjusted where it was and it's now under Alliance management. I didn't see that in the patch notes. Hopefully that is the case. And you guys recall seeing that in patch notes?
This is correct. In the upcoming, that issue should be resolved. I did read that as part of the new email that came out, that they're gonna make the rank 5 choose who exactly is gonna be a new role available. I think I'm just looking at it now. I just was following up what Soul is saying. So, yes, in the next update coming up.
Was I in the right patch notes?
Hang on. I'm trying to get you the exact one. I have them open. 1 second. I remember I spoke about it. I spoke about it briefly. I can't even remember I read this in the stream now, so I'm thinking about it. Hang on. Here it is. Number 4 in the final part in the bottom. Number 4 and in 5 optimization. Number 4. Yeah, number 4 in point. Here it is. So, yeah, I didn't actually notice that.
That has to do with pre-planning flags. That doesn't have to do with any of these other duties, right? Adjusted permissions for pre-planning Crusader flags. Flags can now be planned by the Alliance leader, counselor, and any officer with Alliance management privileges.
Uh-huh. Oh, you can't hear me? What funny?
No, they can. I think they can hear you. They're saying your mic's too loud, which I'll turn you down in Discord here in a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with that last patch, if it's the 1.0.98 one that I see, which looks like the last one that I have in game, it looks like that's just for the pre-planning flags, though.
Yep. That's how I'm reading it.
It is for the pre-planning, true.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it
so
sounds like they're...
go ahead,
Go ahead.
George. You would agree with this?
Yep. Yep, this is very simple. As long as they keep it for Alliance, it's gonna be safe.
Precisely.
Yeah, I really think this is actually, it could get a lot worse than people think. Like, you know, there's some names that are iconic into the game, you know? I'm not gonna start listing them, but there is some names that are iconic. You know, if all rank 4s can edit the profile, it means someone can simply change an Alliance name from one kingdom and put it into another kingdom if they want.
Right.
Anybody with that privilege.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Example.
And this is serious.
Example. Let's just say somebody from 3060 is piloting an R4 account in 1960. They could go in and they could edit the 60 GT tags to something completely different, and then they could go back to their kingdom in 3060 and create a 60 GT alliance in that kingdom.
Yeah. Exactly. This is exactly what could happen. But we're not saying that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but there's potential there. And I'm not trying to give people ideas. But at the same time, recently in KVKs, we've seen people jump on a prior account that they have owned.
That's true.
Within the same camp and destroy building fort. There are players out there that have the mentality anything to win. So I feel like this is an issue that they could easily address, and it could be addressed very quickly.
The thing we should be careful about here is because sometimes we give the titles for other reasons that admin management, let's say. We give it for them to see the online people, or we give it for other sorts of applications. And in those cases, middle of KVK at 5 a.m. when the king is going to sleep and they cannot set up the next team, that's where the mistakes happen.
Yep. I mean, admin management says demolish alliance buildings, appoint and remove officers, give titles, and manage block/pass list. I think all they got to do is add alliance profile in here. And then in my kingdom anyway, only myself and Captain Stinkfist would be able to do that. It could also be used to strawman people and cause blame. That's a possibility. All right. I think we're good on that topic. Everyone kind of have an idea of how we're going to move forward with the various topics, and we may get to them all, we may not. Some of these are going to require much longer discussion than 5 minutes. Matchmaking. So, I have some notes here. That doesn't mean these notes are written in stone. I have an issue with matchmaking myself. I don't feel it considers a kingdom spending level on Crystal Tech and prior KVKs. You guys who watch me have heard me say on paper, right? On paper, it means nothing. You cannot compare two restaurants on paper if you're comparing McDonald's and a Gordon Ramsay 3 Michelin star restaurant. Okay, so my suggestion, and we can certainly add to this, delete from this, not a problem, that's what we're here to do, is that the system will pull Crystal Tech data of players during the matchmaking process, looking at Crystal Tech levels from the prior 2 KVKs for each player. The system will balance camps utilizing the data to ensure there is a balance of high spending, high Crystal Tech players in each camp. I feel like by looking at Crystal Tech for players, it would identify players who spend both on Crystal Tech and players who utilize pilots to grind Crystal Tech, and we'll discuss pilots later, and provide a better potential matchups for all kingdoms involved. Apple, we'll hit you up first. What are your thoughts on matchmaking?
Yeah, this is the tricky one. I'm gonna be straight with you on that one, and I'm gonna have to repeat what you just said. Straight is on paper. I'm sick and tired of the on paper because so many KVKs we've seen in the Diplo phase. We've seen the people coming out, the community speaking, saying, "Dude, this is really not fair. This is really not fair." And then when it comes King's Lane, we're seeing that the team that was supposed to be unfair or an disadvantage becoming to have an advantage. Why? Because on paper does not reflect what we see on the field. What I mean by that, as most of you know, I stream crazy amount of hours of fights, and I can tell you firsthand that if you watch this kingdom's fight and go look at the data, it does not match. Some kingdoms are amazing on the field, but in the data they can hide, they can stay low, and some kingdoms that are incredibly big, but when it comes on the field, there is hardly anybody available. And also you need to take into account that every kingdom gonna have kill point chasers. And these people actually does cause problems for the bigger kingdoms. But what we're talking about here is just the simple matchmaking. The matchmaking that happening right now, like in my example, I was in Imperium. You guys see like my 24-29 experience. I played against 23-77 twice. There was no chance we could even win by any chance. You know what I mean? So the matchmaking was not like great. And then I took a break and I said, well, I'm just going to move to tier A. You know, maybe it's more comparable, more better for my account. And boom, 2 KVKs in a row. I get one of them 1316 and one of them 1316 and 1188. It just, you know, it's so hard to be able, you know, to play this game when you turn up. You know, the problem is, my concern is matchmaking or KVK is the biggest part of this game. And if every time I'm going to turn up to fight, I'm going to feel like I'm not good enough, why would you even bother starting? Why would you even bother spending $500 to $1,000 or $2,000 every KVK when you know you're going to get beat up? You know what I mean? The matchmaking has to be taken a lot more than just power kill point. One of the crucial things that matchmaking need to look at is technology spending. Yes, when one kingdom have 100 players with max tech, matched with a 10-player match tech kingdom, it can be possible. I think max tech has to be taken into consideration. This is that's how I feel about it. If max tech players taken into consideration for max tech, or how much spending every kingdom put into technology, it could balance the outcome. This is how I see it. Yep, here's David saying, spending money to end up getting no fights is killing the game. Exactly.
Yep, and Blackout also said in chat, and I have it documented here. I'll go back and clean up these notes before we send them to Lilith, but Blackout also said, you can't consider KP without considering the account age.
That's another problem. You have some people, accounts been sitting for 7 years, haven't, you know, sitting with billions amount of, and the thing about it is, these accounts, you know, moving around, it's another thing, but that's another point to talk about. But matchmaking, I feel like there is a lot more need to be taken into consideration. Do you know even what they could take into consideration? How many actual players fought last KVK? You know what I mean? I think there is a lot of things that could be taken into consideration.
Cowboys Nation? Okay, you're getting banned.
Facts.
Thanks, let's go.
George, what do you think? What are your thoughts on matchmaking here?
Matchmaking is a tricky topic because any single data point we start considering, they won't be the same in the next few months. Let's say it would have been amazing to consider last KVK's most killed units, for example, in a matchmaking. Now it's sort of irrelevant because it's been 1.5 years we have them, and it's been getting inflated, so to say. Then you have last KVK's KP gain that can be considered, but maybe the player is going inactive this one. Do we consider KP or do we consider deads? So all of these things are moving factors that we have to find a common ground that we agree that this is a moving topic. So it should always be improved, is what I mean.
I think what's been mentioned has all been good like talking points. But one thing as well is, I was actually thinking about this kind of in depth. To your point, Horse, it's kind of like there's like a lot of moving parts. Like the KVK tech, they're also changing around and stuff. So like, you know, what if some people don't spend on new tech, but they want to spend, like they would spend on old tech? There's a bunch of different factors like that. But I did think about this in a way of, the more data points you have, potentially could be good. There's some things that maybe you'd use different weights for, like when you're coming up with like an algorithm to figure out like an efficiency on something, or just like any kind of like mathematical algorithm, you'd potentially use weights, like artificial weights on different topics, right? So I think that might be very, very helpful, is take all these like into consideration, like maybe even like somehow maybe less weighted, but depending on the other weights, you could say like, okay, what's the account's activity like during off season, during KVK? Like they have the time frame of when a zone opens. So what about KP gained in a zone? What about time played on the account in a zone? Things like that. And then obviously at the end, they take all those stats and then they assign them artificial weights to kind of come up with a efficiency score, so to speak. And then that could be applied. Something like that, maybe, I don't know.
But if all the metrics are moving, so you'll have to change the weights every single KVK. What other ways can we determine that anyone will pay the KVK no matter the matchmaking? how about increasing the incentives on the reward sides? Make it so it is so good that it's worth even spending a little more than what you usually spend in a crystal tech, so that you get those rewards no matter what, no matter you win or lose. The rewards, if they're good enough, wouldn't players at least play the KVK even more than before?
So would you consider that maybe like, for the lack of a better example, like a battle pass for like KVK battle pass, where you spend, you get like a guaranteed path throughout the KVK, maybe by reward points or even just at the end, something like that maybe.
That can be something. I think the current reward structure was aimed to replace a battle pass, but what if like we can optimize that and make it so even if the final result, because our KVKs are 2 months, it's not like 45 minutes game where we play and then stop and then play again. It's 2 months. So when somebody is losing, whole kingdoms die after losing KVK. What if we increase the rewards so we get to play the game, and then the winning or losing is just the cherry on the top? So winning the game means like playing the game is winning the rewards as well, and then if we win the KVK at the end, well, it's the cherry on the top.
You know, I'd argue that they actually did something almost in that, like, that way, like towards that direction, with you know, adding in S and S plus ranks for KVKs. Because if you fight hella hard, hey, you get a bunch of crystals, which is sweet. Obviously, probably nowhere near as many, you know, that you've invested into the KVK, but still, I think, like, I agree. I think that could be expanded on.
All right, so we kind of got into another topic there. I've got notes at the bottom. We'll come back to KVK rewards. In general, do we all feel that crystal tech should be factored into matchmaking? Whether it's pulling data from the prior 1 or 2 KVKs to see how much crystal tech levels people got.
Like, I'm sorry, can I say something here with all due respect?
Yeah.
Imperium Kingdom put a like a requirement: you must max tech or you must buy 2 a crystal chest or whatever, and you tell me it's not taken into consideration for matchmaking. It sounds like a joke to me. I'm just a straight guy, you know me how it is. Because you know that the Imperium put this as rules for us to actually join their kingdom. So this is a requirement. So if you're not taking the spending that happening towards technology as part of your matchmaking, we will never have a fair matchmaking. Even look at, like, even when it comes to 1960, 2377, 1606, dude, everybody think that 1606 and 2377 and 1960 players max tech. Bollocks. So many free to play, with so many low spenders, so many rely on the gold chest that being provided by the other players. I was one of these people, and there is nothing to be ashamed of as long as you put your foot forward and you fight hard. But when you take into consideration the amount of spenders, I don't care how much you spend on an account, I don't care how much equipment, armament they spend, nothing. Only purely the technology of KVK. If they are a max tech, check it. If you're gonna have a 50 max tech players, we need to see a 50 max tech players in the other camp. I don't care about power. Brother, I'm just gonna be honest, and people whether agree with me or not, it's okay. I played this game for 5 years and a half. And I've seen it so many times. I'm someone of these guys that don't like to, I like to move on. But there's something you can't just turn a blind eye to. Crystal tech is a big factor in the open field. Open field is a big factor of winning or losing KVK. We have seen Baba Ataturk. We have seen biggest account in the game could sit down on a flag, Itachi. Even when I was spectating the Strive event, biggest accounts in the game can sit down on a flag. Yeah, they can defend that for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, but no, they can't defend that for 15 hours. Max stick players do make a big difference into KVK. Yeah, big players do make a big difference, but the spending part make you able to compete with a big account that doesn't max stick if you max stick. It's the truth. It closes the gap. So, this is how I see it. There is many free to play in these kingdoms. They are not all spenders. What people say is not true.
And Crystal
that's my spill.
Crystal Tech, right? We're going to be discussing that in a little bit as well. This new Crystal Tech, I'm going to rely heavily on Luxa and George to discuss that when we get to that section.
Same.
It may not be as big a factor, but I still think it is a factor. You know, you're still going to have your Krakens that are gonna buy every single daily, every single Mountain Warfare, every single pop-up to max it as quickly as possible. And you're still going to have your grinders. And what we saw in our last KVK was there were some outrageous honor scores. And you can't tell me that those players themselves were doing it all by themselves. So I feel strongly, and again, if you guys don't, we can discuss this in another one, but I feel strongly that Crystal Tech should be factored into matchmaking somehow. Whether it's ranked number 1, whether it's ranked number 5, I do feel it has to be considered. Like we saw in our last KVK, right? We may have had 50 players on the field. 1188 may have had 50 players on the field. We have 10 Max Tech players. They have 30 or 40. It's absolutely no competition. I get where George is coming from, right? There are so many different data points. And I think what would help with this entire discussion is if there was more transparency from Lilith as to how they do the matchups. You know, at one point in time, Mad Phantom had sent me a message and said, okay, if you're playing Heroic Anthem, the matchups are done by power, then by activity, then by this. If you're playing Strife, they look at KP before they look at activity, before they look at power. Right? If we could get that same information from the company and they were more transparent on how matchmaking is done, I think as a community, we would be better able to then go back to the drawing board and help with suggestions on how to improve that matchmaking. Anyone?
I couldn't agree more, man.
Yep, I agree.
George?
The thing is, we don't know. So, there's so many maps and there's so many random factors that are happening that we, as a community, we aren't even able to see what's behind those matchmakings. Some of them are so random that they don't make any mathematical sense, and some of them are like more predictable, so to say.
You know, I think our last KVK, and I'm just speaking for 1029, I think our last KVK, the main issue there was 1316 and 1188. They allied together. You know, you take two of what I would consider very outstanding, well-managed A-seed kingdoms who have played in some of those big Imperium KVKs, and they ally together. So that was kind of disheartening, and that has to be looked at some point as well. But
So let's go from that KVK, for example.
okay.
What would have made that KVK fun to play? But the goal is to play the game, right? To pass time, good time with friends and family. So, well, despite however diplomacy went, what could have made that KVK worthy of playing? At least to enjoy it to the max.
Yeah, I honestly think that and I got the stats up on the screen here, the Daybreak Camp and the Wind Camp should not have been allied together.
So, sort of like when you're playing a basketball, creating a basketball team between friends, there's two people who are the captains. They choose to then, whatever team they want to create. What if we had some sort of main two camps that they cannot ally together?
That's an idea.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
Because normally we're low A seed, right? High B, low A. Normally we go into a KVK and we've got the least power out of anyone. So normally our opinions are put on the back burner. But yeah, if there were two captains, like say in our last KVK, right? Daybreak and what was it, Earth Camp? I gotta bring it up again. Daybreak and Wind Camp were the two team captains. They then go in and they choose their allies. But I think that's hard to do with diplomacy as well, right? So let's think about this one. I'm not going to send any of these matchmaking suggestions, but we can circle back on this in our private chat at a later date to come up with something that we send to Lilith. Let's move on to the next topic. I know matchmaking, I told you, matchmaking is one of those difficult things. So, new crystal tech. Are there any issues with the new crystal tech?
Can I say something before the people that play that can give us feedback?
Yep.
I just want to say the feedback I hear it from streaming and I talking to people about that use the tech. At the beginning of KVK, so at the past four Zone 5 fight, lots of people were saying, dude, this technology is the best because I was able to avoid a lot of unwanted upgrades to gain, the maximum amount of boom boom for me, which was exciting. But then in later passes, they found out that actually this is not how it works. Eventually, for you to excel forward past the beginning part or the first war, you need to go back and actually do the other techs you didn't need to. That's what I have been told. So I don't know how accurate this is, but this is the feedback that I gathered from, talking to people from the stream.
Yeah, that's pretty much spot on. I think the biggest issue is later on it does have you go back and I have a couple of points listed for like pros and cons for new tech, and one of the cons is, and this is just like a meta issue right now, I think it might get better, but with cabs, I heard tons of complaints about cabs like running into the ball, and obviously they're sort of what I would consider the weakest troop type right now, and you're having to go back in Crystal Tech and you're having to max out cav march speed. Like why? Things like march speed, things like that, I feel like should be optional. And I've heard a lot of complaints about having to go back and max like kind of pointless tech. In Zone 5, to your point, people, instantly get like their maxed out troop cap. It feels good for a lot of free to play low spenders, and that first zone actually feels decently balanced because even as a spender, like you're getting pretty far into the tech tree, but you're not getting anything that's like, it doesn't feel like way outweighted compared to old tech where you're smashing on noobs that don't have the troop cap, and it's, you're just decimating, and that first zone 5 feels really bad for low spender or free to play. I would say the issue I had with it is it feels a little bit too grindy. I like the idea that they try to go with, more defensive with like damage reduction and maybe lowering like the KVK all damage buff. But I feel like some of that should be maybe pulled back a little bit because it does feel like we're fighting in basically this last KVK, we were like a seed is the average. My kingdom are for 3303, we're generally around C seed, top C seed, low B, and it just felt like, so like compared to Imperium, I guess my point was in bringing that up is that I can only imagine how much more that grindiness would feel just just dragging on and on and on, which that's the main fight, or main point of the game is to fight, but at the same time there has to be a balance where it just doesn't feel like things aren't dying. I will say I have 3 points of like the pros, like the absolute best things that came out of this, in my opinion. The 3 most important, and which I felt were good like tech trees or tech options. Spawning runes whenever you want it is great. I absolutely love that. And they should implement something like that in off season, honestly, because having an AP rune during downtime, especially for HA or Heroic Anthem, there's a ton of farming time, so having 100% uptime basically on an AP rune is really great. And obviously, especially I would like to see this back at Home Kingdom for pre-KVK, because you can spawn like a training rune. And I know 3303, our luck in getting a training rune is absolutely abysmal. Like we're lucky to get like the lowest tier. So, and then finally the third point, or there's 2 other points, sorry, is Bastion and Barb tech being combined is a godsend. It's great that it's all combined. You don't have to split off and go to multiple trees for that. And also auto help, the Celestial Guidance, getting instantly the 30 helps is really, really good. Those are like the top 3 techs. Everything else, I feel like needs a little bit of balancing on either its placement or maybe reduction on having to go back and max out like things like that are more utility, like such as march speed and stuff like that. That's just my view. I'm not sure if you guys agree.
So before we jump to George, does it cost more resources and speed ups to fight with the new crystal tech than it did in the past?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because you're just sitting there grinding, and like things aren't dying as quick, but you're also having, depending on how intense the fighting is, it's going to take longer, which means that you're just sitting there and grinding away resources. If the match is not even and there's less fighting, then it's a lot less, right? But if it's even how we kind of want it to be, it's a lot more resources and hours put in.
George?
I personally haven't played yet with the new technology, but I do have questions on problems we had on the old one. Is the field fighting at least slightly slower than before? Because it used to be way too fast. And can we play KVK with 20, 30 billion each? Or would that still not be enough?
Those are dependent on how bloody the KVK is, I would say. But in general, the fighting, for the fighting, for sure, it slowed down immensely, because I think there's obviously like damage reduction being put in there, right? They added more defensive stats with health and defense. You see it in the later part of the tree, and then them nerfing the KVK buff. I feel like they did a little too much on the like defensive side. Like they leaned really heavy into being defensive and less on how attack and damage driven the old tech was. So yeah, it's definitely more grindy. And then as far as like the amount of resources, definitely depends on your account, how much you played. Like for me, I was number one in healing, and number 3 in kills, I think, for the KVK under the Autark leaderboards. And my total resources spent healing was about 82 billion resources. So it's crazy. Yeah, it's a lot of grinding, a lot of resources.
So I watched a recent video from, I believe it was Gaines Gaming, who fights in 1846. And he was saying as well that they pretty much did really, really well through past 5 when they got to King. And he said they're a kingdom that focuses on quality over quantity. But when they got into Kingsland, they were well, he didn't use the word annihilated. It was 4 or 5 days of fighting, right? Because they were overwhelmed with numbers. I think that can happen in pretty much any KVK. But good Lord, Josh, you're going crazy here. Thank you. But in the same respect, do you guys think the new crystal tech may have played a huge part in that?
Out of my experience, I would say yes. I mean, it definitely seems to add up. So yeah, I would say yes.
So what would be our suggestions here? To go back and revamp the stats, to lower the resource and speed up costs for healing troops? How could we help players playing with new crystal tech?
I saw a good suggestion in chat by Sola. Saying make healing tech more accessible. In order to make max healing, like you're required to max all 3 main troop type trees. So I think for like on the resource side, I think making healing definitely like more accessible could be something that's good. I think in general, I think to what your point was, what you asked just now, I do think that rolling back a little bit on the defensive side, maybe all they have to do, and this might, I don't know the math on this, but maybe just re-roll or roll back the all damage on the KVK all damage. That could help on the fight side. Those would be like 2 small, like somewhat small changes without having to do too much work on the actual tree. But I do think there's going to be a lot of testing needed as far as like either making it so you don't go back as often, or don't need, maybe for some utility tech you don't have to go back, or just the organization of the tech tree itself.
What the fuck, Josh? That's 40 gifted
Josh coming
members.
was a gifted 40, yeah, bro.
Crazy,
Boom,
man.
boom.
You're crazy, man.
Thank you, sir.
So overall, make healing tech more accessible earlier in the tree. Did I capture that correctly?
Yep.
And roll back some of the defense, health, and provide some more all damage or attack.
Yeah, I think this would be potentially good. Like they're almost there. I feel like they leaned a little bit too much on defense, so I think that's right. I would
Okay.
agree with that.
And I'm sorry, George. I thought you had done the new crystal tech, but apparently Luxta's the only one here who has.
We've been in off season way too long.
Lots of people, I think Solo's saying as well, something as well, give us speeds like resources and troops. This also came back in my stream. You know, the amount of speed ups you spend on healing. Why we don't get like a 5-10% back as well? Like, you know, if they want the game to keep going, we need to be able to fight more. You know what I mean? And be able to recover faster. At the moment, no. But maybe that's the point we can discuss forward.
One small comment on that. I know it was brought up before between some content creators, and there's actually some negative feedback about giving more speed ups, which I didn't 100% agree with. But if you look at the 1%, like the crazy like Kraken kingdoms or just like the high spend kingdoms, they get a lot of gold chests and speed ups already. So if they're getting additional speed ups on top of that, then that's what their argument was, which again I don't 100% agree on, because I think the majority is like you're not getting.
They are limited.
Like, yeah, right.
It's unlimited for them, bro. You know what? How I see it?
It's already basically at that point, right? that was my point.
Exactly. It's like they already can spend whatever they want today. They don't even care about the 5%. For them, it's nothing. For them, they're gonna go buy a 10 gold chest, 20 gold chest, and they're gonna fix the problem. But we gotta look at the bigger picture. It's not about the 1%. It's about the 99% that play this game. That's the reality. Even though, don't get me wrong, that 1% contribute the insane amount of contribution to keep this game alive and development and everything. Yeah. But the bigger picture is you got to look at everybody. That's how I see it.
That 1% is probably 80% of the income that the company has.
Yeah,
exactly. That's why. Yeah, that's why we are aware that it's quite crucial that their opinion is taken into consideration.
But that 1% also needs the 99% to be able to
play the game.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, they are nobody. They're nobody, really.
I don't think barbarians need crystal tech to finish it.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. So I think I've captured everything here. I will circle back and clean this up at a later date. Everybody's favorite topic now, piloting.
That's it. Look, man, I'm going to take the last seat. Because trust me.
Okay.
Just let me take the last seat.
George, I think you've had... Well, how do I say this? First off, let's discuss the issue here, right? It seems like, in my opinion, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, KVKs are becoming unplayable due to some piloting groups, paid pilots, that are going from kingdom to kingdom to kingdom. You know, I get it. People have often told me, well, you can do it too, but I'm not one who's gonna require people in my kingdom to use pilots. If they choose to do so, that's on them. I think in these bigger KVKs, we often see fights for days and days and days at a time. We see some insane numbers being put up, whether it's kills or deads, by a lot of accounts in this game. It used to be, and in my opinion, it was much more fun when kingdoms had a downtime, because you could plan strategies, you could plan attacks, you could plan groups of people doing things during those downtimes. So, is piloting an issue? George, we'll start with you.
It's a very tricky topic, because if we remove all pilots tomorrow, there's a lot of kingdoms that couldn't even function, I would say. But also, how can we make it so it's not too extreme? That's the other question. I
And-
did have a few suggestions back in the day
okay.
when we played against 960. I thought that KVK bypassed the limits of what we should have as a KVK limit, as in 35 days non-stop from Zone 5 until end of King's End. That seemed too much, as something that would impact our real lives too much. So I came up with the idea of what if you had an account limit of hours that a human can possibly play in a day. So let's say my account can play for we have War Frenzy, right? Now imagine a longer term War Frenzy, like 18 hours a day. So those 6 hours, the account would have to sleep because it can't fight on a field. This is just an idea. And in this case, the kingdom would have to make strategic, placements of accounts on hours. Like, okay, you come on these hours, and then these people will come up, so that we cover the 24 hours. And when you don't, and in this sense, a human can play 18 hours in a KVK. One player, many of us do it. But those 6 leftover hours, we can go to sleep and come back the next day. So to recap, the idea would be, what if we had a total amount of hours in a day that account can fight? Like 18 hours. Mandatory downtime sort of things.
Okay. Apple, you want to go last?
Yeah, sure. But I can go. Look, man, I'm gonna break it into 3 ways, into 3 things. Everybody take a deep breath, okay? Everybody take a deep breath. I know there's so many of you use pilots in the chat. So just take a deep breath. I have always been neutral about it. I have no problems with people using pilots because, I understand there's some people that really, they have a big role in their life which they can't able to attend the game, but they still want to be able to play the game in the free time. I'm all up for this. But what we've seen in the last year or so, this is becoming a more normal thing for Imperium Kingdoms. Imperium Kingdoms, 50% piloted. You know what I mean? And what causes the issues is when you get messages, you know what I mean? When you get, when the pilots are playing and the message person, they're not piloted, for example, I'm just telling you, I'm going to tell you all side of the story. Take it or leave it. They message someone, they're not really good, not spending as much as them or anything. And then they tell them you are useless or something like that. If that was me, man, I'm just being straight with you. If I'm someone that plays the game myself and a pilot join on an account, playing on someone else's account, come and tell me I'm useless, I pretty much will walk away from the game. I'm just telling you the straight. So this causes an issue. One, it causes people to walk away from the game. Why? Look, I'm gonna give you the biggest example. There was one recent KVK, yeah, when everybody had expectation of a kingdom to be able to win. And I'm gonna tell you how it is right now. 2359 and 1846 KVK. I spectated this KVK over 4 days. And everybody that was on my stream, yeah, was saying something like, dude, 1846, not focused, and not enough numbers. But then when we looked at the stats, majority of them gained 1 billion kill point. But then people turned up on the Facebook group and said, oh, 1846 is gone, 1846 is not good enough. This is the sad reality we live in right now in 2025, that if your kingdom doesn't have pilots and able to compete 24 hours, you're a useless player. And if you guys think this is okay, I will never be on your line on it. People allowed to take time off, players allowed to do these things. You shouldn't be putting pressures on accounts to make them feel they're not good enough. I'm telling you the truth. It's look, individuals that have personal things that need to use it, I fully understand. And I tell you, I know you personally. But what I'm telling you, in the last year, things has been going crazy. Even Sewell leaving the game, said what? Leaving 1960, stopping that project. What did he say in his own words? I'm not bringing my own words.
So it's
You
not
gotta take
sustainable. Not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. And what did he say also? He does not feel it's team anymore. Team, I am one of the content creators that tell you, hand on heart, community is everything in this game. I built my channel on community and I will never change my words. My community is my 100% of my channel. This community was built in the game. and from the game came to YouTube. This is community. We hang out together. I played KVK with you. We build the community. Meet me online. Yeah, now, you know, I'm different because I'm meeting a lot of people new, but you gotta understand the point. If you don't have that community, even though, you know, I'm busy right now, I don't spend a lot of time on Discord. When KVK comes, me and 1029 team, we jump on Discord, we're laughing for 12, 15, 16, 18, 20, 24 hours, hanging together. We take breaks and come back. You know what I mean? There is this family bond. There is this social time. There is this time that we're going to come to hang out together. If you don't have this, why would you even get up at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning, or even stay up for 20 hours plus? You can't do this, you know? So what I mean is, pilots are important for some people because they can't do without them, I fully understand. But there also need to be some kind of, you know, management around that.
So what's,
in a way.
What's your suggestion then?
Well, you know, bro, this is the part where you hit the rock bottom. You know, I'm just being honest. Like, I'm telling you how I feel about it.
Okay.
Because I speak out loud. But then when you think about solutions for it, it becomes a serious issue. Nobody want to face it because majority of the people use it. Biggest players in the game use it. You know what I mean? So it becomes a difficult situation because you don't know how can we fix it. Limit the IP? Well, someone can tell you, well, I have a problem. You know what I mean? Maybe one player. I'm just telling you the argument because I've been through. I talked to a lot of people off screen as well. Like the IP restriction. I'm gonna tell you the conflict for us straight. Someone told me, imagine I have one pilot and this guy I have a problem with. Now I'm blocked for using another pilot for the rest of the year. You can't. You know, that's why it's really hard. But you know, I just want the community to remember when a kingdom lose a KVK, yeah, because they don't have 24-hour pilots, just don't be too harsh on them, yeah, because this is how you're gonna eventually kind of destroy the community. You gotta understand what you're doing as well. You know, I'm one of these content creators that I like to be neutral, and it's always been neutral. I'm never gonna change who I am. But you know, the community has a big part in it as well. The community has a big part in it. When the kingdom loses KVK.
Who you are is why so many people love you.
Oh, dude, dude, honestly, I put my heart on my sleeve and I live with like every day. Like, I'll do my best. But you know, guys, I love the community. I love the game. But what I'm seeing happening, I can't just stay. Like, I came today. You know, guys, I never take a stream off. But I will take every week off to come and talk about problems about the game or issues and discuss things because this is a game we play. We love the game. We're not sitting here to make views. And this is not. This is all of us took time out today. It's just solely to make the game better. You have to understand what we're trying to do here. So it's not about us.
Yeah. So
you know
Lux, I know you play in a high CC kingdom, right?
Yep.
Is piloting an issue in the KVKs you're
Yes.
playing in as well?
Yeah, yes. Sorry to cut you off. Yes, 100%. I mean, I think Apo kind of hit it on the nail on the head, saying that a lot of people use it. And, you know, most KVKs that I've been in, it's basically coming down to like even the wee hours where you think think people are having downtime and then all of a sudden they don't. And I've confirmed that they've even come to me saying, yeah, we just have pilots running 24/7. Well, I mean, I think it's even like I haven't played in an Imperium or a very high seed, but I could say that even for just like a smaller seed kingdom, it almost seems like there's a chance that it could be even worse. Like not the extent, because the fighting could be much longer, obviously, in Imperiums. But in a smaller seed kingdom, there's less players that you have on each side, meaning that, to Lambo's point, you know, if they're basically to the point earlier that you guys brought up was that if a kingdom loses KVK because they don't have enough pilots, like that could be even worse in lower seed where it's a little bit more casual. There's less players playing, so I could definitely feel that for sure. I think most of the points have been pretty much talked about as far as, you know, is basically almost a necessity at this point in hyper competitive kingdoms because, you know, I myself, I put in 24-hour days, but it doesn't mean that everyone can do that, right? And the point to Seawill, you know, taking a break, one of his points was that he basically lost a sense of community. Like the thing that I like about being in a lower seed is that I know my people, I know my friends, I can interact with them, and when there's random pilots popping in and stuff like that, it you know, if you have bad pilots too, they're running around and like ruining like teamwork. They're just KP chasing, not playing objectives. There's like all these issues that come with it, but it's also like this weird thing where it's kind of needed, like because people can't stay up that long. I really liked the idea. Well, let me rephrase. I don't like the idea of limiting a time on the account played, and I think Lilith wouldn't as well, because like more time played, like why would you limit someone's play time on a game? I know some gacha games do it with like energy systems and stuff, but besides the point. So what if there's some way that maybe there's like an armistice, like where there's agreed upon times that you could basically say this is going to be armistice times, and but it's like built into like as like a feature in the game or something like that, where then there's less demand obviously to have people on 24/7, right? It's not going to completely kill piloting, but that's basically a revision that I feel better. Like instead of punishing the account itself to be played less, maybe just affect the overall game flow or game state, because then at least, you know, I'm in my mind, it might help out as far as like the extremes of where they're still going to be piloting, but maybe not as many people need them because they have a set time that they can actually either take off, or they know when fighting is going to be, instead of like right now the current state is you're just fighting for territory until one side gives up. You have no idea or time frame of really how long that's going to last. So maybe some kind of solution like that. And this is just me spitballing. That's going to come with a ton of issues, I'm sure too. But
I mean, obviously, I don't think they can get rid of piloting overnight, right? You're going to lose too many kingdoms. You're going to lose too many Krakens who are paying 100%. For the rest of us to play this game. Here's my thought, and I'm going to switch to my desktop because it's not displaying on the screen currently.
Okay.
Within your account manager, right? You have a manage device section. And this shows all the different devices that I have played on, right? It shows my desktop, it shows one tablet, it shows a second tablet, and it shows my phone here. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about limiting the number of devices that can access an account to 2 or 3, and only allowing somebody to be able to change those devices once every 30 days? Okay, so like, I have my desktop. I play on that when there's fighting. I have my tablet. I play on that when I'm just doing random events, sitting in my recliner. Right. So
hey, can I ask you a question? So what we're trying to do here is manage the number of pilots playing on the account.
Yeah. If you limit the number of devices here to say, let's just say 2 or 3. Mm-hmm. Right. You're still going to provide the account owner with the ability to play on their preferred 2 devices. And then, you know, maybe have a pilot that has a device in here that is the 3rd device in here. And unless the account owner is playing 12, 14, 16, 18 hours a day, and a single pilot is playing the rest of that time in a 24-hour period, you're not going to have groups of pilots that come in, and you're not going to have 16 different pilots that could potentially play on a single account in a given time.
See, you brought a very good point, because you are right. The pilots has been always existing. Why it's been an uproar lately is because of the big number of them moving from one KVK to another and changing the tides. And so this could really, really fix the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, but if you
so
limit,
pilots is not the issue. Are we agreeing? We have to agree on this.
If you limit devices, the device changes to once every 15 days, once every 30 days. You cannot simply go in, and I cannot simply go in and remove these 3 devices to add 3 more pilots in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think this is a good first approach.
Step. Yeah.
The only other thing I think this could bring upon, though, just real quick, so before I forget, is there's a chance that, let's say, this just changes the function of pilot groups, right? Where, of course, you only have one player playing, but then that means that you might also just be able to get, like, let's say, like, I'm in, like, US time. Maybe I'll have someone that's, and I'm not saying that I would get a pilot, but just as an example, let's say that I get someone in Europe to cover my time that I can't play, right? So it'll be more limiting, I do agree. It won't cure the whole problem, but it might just change the function of pilot groups right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have a pilot group of 30 players that come in and say they're going to pilot for 1029 and then have 4 or 5 different pilots piloting for Lambo. Right?
Yeah,
You could maybe restrict that by devices. You know, Lambo plays on his desktop and he plays on his tablet. And then there might be one other device in here, like Forza offered to pilot on my account in KVK if I ever needed it. You know, Forza's desktop might be on here. But then that can't change for a period of time, 15, 30 days, whatever. And that would limit the number of pilots a person could utilize on their account. And I get it, right? There are shared accounts out there. But you can have 2 devices in there then, one for each person playing on the account. And then one for a pilot if you need a pilot. And I'm not a fan of pilots. I don't like these piloting groups. I don't like paid pilots. Oftentimes they don't pay attention to markers. They chase kill points because that's how they get paid. But I think something like this would be a step in the right direction.
May I just say something, please?
Yeah.
I just want to say something because you're listening to everybody and reading the chat. I just want to make something very clear. Yeah, not everybody agrees with pilots, but pilots has been part of the game since it existed, but was not. What happened lately is the big group of them moving to a 1 KVK and boom, making upside down results, you know, changing the tides. This is where, because I just want to make this clear, because I'm listening and reading to everybody, reading the chat. The concept of pilot is not the actual issue alone. It's the excessive amount of them coming together as a group. You know, it's just hard. It's the truth. Thank you, Dean.
George, you're probably the most technical person here. Would something like this work, you think?
It feels like trying to solve the problem from the other side of the source. The source is what makes those
pilots needed.
piloting issues, needed in the first place. Like just adding maybe situational or social. It would have to be studied a bit more closer. But in my case, I myself have like 6 devices. All are connected to my main. So, and of course there are ways that you can maybe bypass the limit of managed devices, which would make only certain people be able to have more pilots than others. So limiting those, most of us casual players not be able to, win in a fair. At least if everyone can have it, let's say it's fair game. But if only certain people can have it, it's less of a fair game. So, in this sense, how can we reverse the question of make it less important, or the consequences of not being online at certain hours because real life hit be less impactful on your team? Maybe allow somebody else in the team to bring out one more march? I don't know.
I mean, this is definitely a topic that Lilith does not want people to discuss. They do not want people to discuss it openly. So I appreciate you guys coming here to discuss it openly. I appreciate all the comments in the chat, right? But I think Apo, Luxta, and Sewell in his email hit the nail on the head, like you said, Luxta. It's not building that community. It's I'm online for 20 hours when Pass is open. 20 hours straight. Those of you that play with me know this. Because I have a sense of pride. And I do not want to leave a fellow player on the field by himself during downtime. And it's just gotten to a point where it's too easy for players to log off and know their account's still there. I get it, right? Some of these millionaires, billionaires, they got better things to do than sit on a game for 20 hours a day. Completely understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Go ahead.
I just want to say that again and again, because I know some of you in the chat use, and it is not about trust me, guys. It is not about the individuals. It is not. This is not what the issue is. The issue is the big number, the 20, 30 pilots that jump on. Just for everybody to hear it and just understand. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. What do you say we do this? Let's poll the chat. I know this is a sensitive issue. Let's poll the chat.
Yeah. No, I'm just being honest because I am not gonna lie to you. Like it's very sensitive and there's so many people involved in it, and I know how sensitive it is. But the truth is, I always see I always see that in front of everybody. I never had a problem with them. It's just when I felt like it becomes barbarian killing, KVK fights, Supreme Strife. So I do appreciate the investment you put in the game, but are we even playing the game? I don't know. I'm asking. When someone like have 5-6, can you play? No. Why one account goes to one tournament and let other people? I'm just talking. I feel sometimes the pilots end up having more fun than the actual community players. Hate me for it, but I'm just saying the truth.
I'd have fun too if I was on a Kraken account and all I had to do was chase kill points.
Yeah, I'm just saying the truth.
I was gonna say I've heard that personally from a pilot saying the exact same words that he just said. Is he gets to hop around to different accounts and
Yep.
yeah, it's like why play your own when you can play someone else where they're dumping hella money in and you get different experiences, right?
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why
Having fun, bro. Having a great time.
Why would a free-to-play player or a low spender bust their ass to grind, just so they can get smashed with somebody with higher crystal tech when they can pilot, potentially get paid for it, and jump on an account that they would never ever be able to build themselves and smash everything?
You should. Anybody should. If you ask me, why wouldn't do it?
I mean, I don't think.
This brings up
Go ahead.
a very interesting topic that I would like to bring up here is how many people do you guys personally know that quit to become pilots because it was, let's say, more fun
A
than
dozen.
maintaining the account? Like I've heard many people as well. So yeah, Luca, thank you for bringing it up. It's very true.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Lambo just said. I've heard at least I can count on one hand at least of people that I know that quit to be pilots.
I also can. It's the truth. I actually can. I actually, when you ask that question, on my hand, I counted 5, literally from my brain. Can I say something, guys, which could be controversial? On that voting list, downtime periods in KVK maps. This is how the China server work.
Yep.
So whether you like it or not, after a certain amount of hours, let's say 12 hours, which is an insane amount of hours has been done on the screen. After 12 hours, there is a 6-hour debuff period. No, you can't get open field kills. You can't burn flags. You can farm max. You can attack and everybody, goes to a stop, go for 6 hours and come back. I know sounds silly, and trust me, I know some people be like, Apple, you must be crazy. I'm not really crazy because it's working on another server and it's been a very successful a very successful game in China, and they're using this limitation. And trust me, I am talking, and I'm the last one I should be saying that because I live in New Zealand. I live in the worst time zone for online gaming. I have to wake up 15 UTC. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. So everybody knows this about me. So I will be like the most person hurt because of this. But
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of ways you can limit this. I don't know. When maintenance happen, everybody forced to get off the game.
I think.
And it always happen in King's Land. Always happen in King's Land.
I think the issue here, and Bad Queen brought this up in chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
All the players on the Chinese server are in the same time zone. Typically,
Yeah, that's the time zone.
typically they're going to be working the same hours. They're going to have the same off time. International servers,
Yeah.
like you said, you're in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's true. For me, it's impossible.
If they shut it down for 8 hours and that's your prime time,
Yeah,
you're pretty much screwed.
That's so true.
Would there be a
That's so
chance
true.
that they could maybe do like a voting of like either all the players in the KVK or just like the R4, R5s per all the KVK? I know like if you have a smaller sample size, it can be more rigged, right? So that if I know like, hey, that camp's downtime, let's screw them over. Like obviously, the more people that could vote on something like that would be better. Is that something that could be done, you think?
So at the beginning of a KVK, all the kingdoms in the KVK vote for a specific downtime. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically something like that.
That would still, I think, what if you get 6 Chinese kingdoms in the KVK and 2 European kingdoms in the KVK?
And wouldn't limiting hours on an account be a more micro level of downtime?
Explain what you mean, horse.
Let's say when you're putting a downtime on a map level, so account limiting hours is just a micro system of, per account basis. In this way, kingdoms can manage their accounts active on certain hours where the players themselves can play.
Yeah. I mean, there's still gonna be issues on pilots and stuff. I don't know.
I mean, no matter what happens, I think pilots are here to stay.
Yeah, this is not that's exactly what people need to understand. It's how we can limit the maximum, the huge impact that it goes on KVK.
And my personal issue is, again, not with 2 players sharing an account. It's with these groups of pilots that go from KVK to KVK to KVK, and that's all they do is pilot, right? It's with people getting paid to pilot. It's with players quitting the game so that they can be full-time pilots. It's with ruining the community, a kingdom's vibe, so to speak, because you're not playing with the same people again and again and again. You don't establish, I mean, like, take 1029, for example. I can tell you how many kids each person has, the ages of their kids, what their interests are outside of the game. And that's building a community. If we had 20 pilots coming in, playing at random, they usually don't talk on Discord. If they do, many of them are, I wanted this to be a family-friendly stream, but many of them are assholes. Right? We've had players come in and say, no, I played in 1960. They don't do it this way. I played in 1846. They don't do it this way. It's like, well, you're not playing there now. You're in 1029. Right? So I don't think there's a solution to eliminate pilots altogether unless we ban pilots. And that is not going to happen. I think we all agree that's not going to happen. It will kill players. Many of the Krakens would quit the game. Both would lose a significant amount of income. And kingdoms would some kingdoms, like you said in the beginning, George, some kingdoms would just go away because they rely on those pilots. I think the best we can do is potentially limit the pilots playing. And I get it, right? I get it. Alloys and Popo said, they could they could connect to your PC and they could play on your game that way. But I mean, that's a huge security risk. I'm not letting somebody random into my PC, right? They have access to everything on my PC then, and I'm not technology savvy enough to know if I could limit them to only access a game, if they would have access to all my images, if they could go to my internet history and see that I've searched for Apple feet pics a dozen times or what, right? So it's...
I just need to say something. I need to read this comment. I'm sorry, Lambo, for interrupting. Rafe Seed, this is like war on drugs. Hey, I ain't gonna win. This is the greatest comment ever, bro. It's so good, man.
Not gonna win, right? But I think if we can limit them to some degree.
Yeah, man. Hey, it's a hot topic. Everybody talks about it, like, honestly. And I will tell you something. Some people say, I like to talk about it. Many content creators talk about it, but they don't put the thumbnail about it. It's simple. It happens. People talk about it.
Yeah, Wild says, if kingdoms have players who are dedicated and crazy enough to play for 20 to 30 hours straight, they should be rewarded for it. They should be able to kick a camp out of the zone for being more dedicated. And I assume he means not because they have pilots. Mm-hmm. Rock Gosu here, he's repeating his message. He made a video about this as well. I keep mentioning the core of the problem and people are just circling around the issue. Piloting is only possible due to infinite speed ups and resources in some kingdoms. Gold chests are too overpowered, generating too much speed ups. What do you guys think about that statement?
Hey, look at me as an example. From where I was to where I am. I think it's just simple. I was someone that reckoned 2.5 to 3,000 days of speed ups every KVK. I'm not even counting my training speed ups. When you move out of this category to a lower seed, you definitely see the difference. It's a difference. But what people need to understand, and with all due respect, every single game on the platform, on any platform, every game you play that has bundles has an elite group of players. It doesn't, I'm not gonna start listing games, but any game you play that has resources or ways to spend money, the elites and the rich will always be krakens in these games. Regardless if we're gonna say limited and not limited. You know what I mean? We already had limited the Wheel of Fortune. Now it's semi-unlimited. Everybody loves it. So I don't think limiting is going to be the problem because, yeah, like I said, I had 3,000 speed ups, but here I am with 1,000 speed ups. I still looking forward to play KVK, have fun, because the KVK is not going to, it's not, yeah, bro, guys, the understanding is the KVK is not supposed to be as hard as it was in Imperium. That's why I don't have 2,500 and 3,000 days. But the matchmaking, which is the first point we spoke about, makes the problem. Matchmaking has to be fair for everybody. Everybody.
So Chuck D30 says the issue is that no steps to mitigate piloting has happened. The problem has gotten 10 times worse over the past year.
The goal should be limiting pilot services, not friends.
Yep.
Leo says, wow, Leo, thank you for the dono. Leo says you should have three devices, then you can have 2 more with limited login chances per month. The goal should be limiting pilot services, not friends.
I just want to say something on this note.
I would like to respond on that because that's impossible to implement and very easily bypassable. I personally play not on my laptop but on a gaming server, which makes the game a bit more fluid to play. Which means that I can simply give my gaming server email and password to any friends I want. So 100 people, let's say, and they'll all be connected to the same device, which is my gaming server.
Oh, here we go. So that's actually never gonna work. Thank you, Mr. George.
So-
Thank you, George. Oh,
As
there's
there's-
always a way around that.
I was just about to say if there's a demand, there'll be a supply, right? And if there's
Yeah,
a
that'll
way
done.
around it, basically, you know,
Yep.
it just shifts the requirements to set it all up, basically.
No matter what they do, and I think Chuck kind of hit the nail on the head. No matter what they do, people are going to find a way around it. It's just how difficult will it be to find a way around it, and we need to see something done. I think we all agree piloting is an issue, right?
To that point, Lambo, I think it's the step in the right direction though. Is like I'm starting to get more. I guess more agreeing with somehow maybe limiting the amount of devices, because like to everyone's point here, and Apple brought up as well, is that if it's a issue, so if we're accepting that pilot is just going to exist or piloting is just going to exist, then stopping or preventing a lot of the large pilot like groups or just like random people hopping onto accounts, that might be something to, you know, if we implement basically that limiting device could definitely help. Those groups might still evolve into something else, but yeah, it's a rough topic, right?
It is. But I want to say something just before I just want to say something. Biggest games in the world have 0 tolerance to pilots. I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay. All right. So as far as the poll goes, I think the majority were in favor of setting a device limit. What do we think is, I know, George, I know you said you have 6 devices. What do we think is a fair device limit here?
Well, you gotta think about it. I have my PC, my phone, and as well my wife helped me. So that's a 3rd device. So I have my account opened on 4 devices right now that belongs to me inside my house. You see? So you gotta think about also everybody, you know?
The people
that's
that
what I
would
was
be
saying.
impacted, yeah. Like you're gonna
Yeah,
hit
that's
people that are
exactly.
innocent.
Exactly. Like me now, I go tell my wife, I'm streaming, I can't play art. Can you help me, baby? She'll be like, I can't even log into your account. I beg your pardon.
Keep-
Kind of stuff.
Keep talking. Keep talking. I'll be right back.
No worries. So yeah, this is my only point. If you limit it to 3 or 4, what about the like? I'm a content creator that really limited to house. I'm just being honest. Guys know my back. I'm a very honest person, so I'm limited to my house. I don't go out much. You know me. I'm live every day. So the reality of this is one person within 4 walls logging onto the game to 4 devices. Can you imagine someone that actually has to go to work, like most of you, like I used to do? Let me give you an idea. When I used to go to work, yeah, for sure I didn't have the game open on my game work, but I had a phone that goes with me. I had a second phone that the game was downloaded on, just in case, I can't log in. Plus the game was logged in like 3 devices, plus a laptop, which is 6. It's crazy. Just for me to be able to access the game at any given time. And you know what happened if, for example, I'm someone that like to think of the worst. It's just who I am. Let me give you an example. I am traveling and I lost my phone. And I'm not even kidding. I'm playing Zenith of Power and someone kicked me. I'm just giving you the worst example. Or I'm in the wrong alliance and, it's the end of KVK reward. And I can log in. And now there is a limited on device, and I found someone that can let me borrow their phone or an online cafe to let me log in, and now I can't open my account. How would you defend that? So that's why I feel like limiting the number of devices is a very, very, very crazy.
If I'm not mistaken too, there's ways to like spoof device information, and I've seen this actually with like what's it called, like BlueStacks and stuff like that, where you can basically fake what device you're setting up, right? And then if you like copy over that device profile, basically it's like mimicked 100%. So there's just going to be ways also to, unless they have some high level of detection, there's going to be ways to go around it, right? And to your point, like if you start opening up too many, like let's just say there is going to be a limit on devices, but if you open up that amount to too many to like take into account some of the innocent people being hit, then the point is missed, right? It's gone. Because you allow too many devices allowed, like on an account, then you have more pilot opportunity, right? So give and take.
Yep.
I was just reading in the chat here. Danky, good to see you, brother. Even Danky was like, I voted on the no fighting period for like 8 hours. Would be nice. Everybody guaranteed, guys. Fatigue, everything. Guys, I'm one of these people that have crazy energy. I can stream. Like I've said that and streamed. Maybe my biggest Rise of Kingdom full-on fight stream was 22 hours or 23. Like absolutely hard, physically, mentally, fatigue. It is not healthy. I feel very depressed after. I'm just honest. Hear me out. Like I'm telling you how it is. I feel so depressed after 2377 KVK. I spent hours of playing and I lost twice in a row. It was really hard for me to take it. After this, the only reason that kept me fueled and kept me feeling happy and positive was the community. Simple. You know what I mean? It's the truth. You know what I mean? Leo's coming here with a donor saying, do you do it like streaming platforms? Ban that to Wi-Fi, VPN. And if you travel, you can only give the code to single device. And then Carlito came and said, we have been crying out for a podcast like this, given these are some of the most controversial topics affecting the game in this current state. Drop like to show your appreciation and gratitude because they are voicing the community concerns.
Yeah, love you, Car.
Really,
love you,
guys,
Car.
it's the truth, bro. Like Carlito, thank you for saying this. Oh, Lambo's back.
Thank you,
But really, I wanna say thank you because honestly, man, you know me. I promise the community I'm not taking a day off. No. But I really think this is so important than sit down and playing games or doing anything. It's so important because really we got them care about the actual game and the community.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
the developers know this, by the way.
even if we don't come up with a solution today, hopefully
Yes, just a
it
start.
creates that conversation moving forward that people can start thinking about. Because a lot of this is in one-offs here and there on various Discord servers. Forza, I love you, dude. And we have been told, don't talk about piloting. I think, and I may get kicked out of the content creators program because I'm doing this, and I'm okay with that. I'm an apprentice creator. I'm not a Apocalypse Gaming or a Chisel or anything, so fine. Whatever you want to do. But these are things that need to be discussed, and they need to be discussed openly so that people can weigh in on the topic and have a say, rather than just sweeping it under the rug, pretending like it doesn't exist.
Excuse me, Lambo. I think I misheard something. Did you say you're going to get kicked out for speaking about pilots? Sorry, I didn't see you streaming while piloting. So why would you get kicked out?
I've never piloted an account. I've logged
Why would
in.
you think you're gonna be kicked out because you're speaking about it?
Because I'm talking about it. I've logged into MF's account to do armaments for him because he didn't want to be bothered with that.
No, dude.
But I've never played on
you
somebody
shouldn't
else's
say that.
account.
You shouldn't say that, dude. We come in here to talk because we love the game and we talk about it. I'm sorry, but there is a lot of things that other people could be banned for. So let's just
I think
continue.
it's-
Don't stress.
Yeah.
I someone agree. I think it's one thing to just discuss the topic, and it's one thing to hate on the developer. And
Exactly.
there's a way that we're going about it as well right now, is we're trying to figure out just get the conversation started and looking at it from a problem. What is the root cause of the problem? How could we expand on that? So I think as long as we go about this right, we have all the good intentions, and we actually want to help Lilith. We want to help the game because it's what we love, right? So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we briefly touched on that. Leo George said it's probably not something that's feasible from a programming standpoint. Forza says, tell Lilith I quit because their matchmaking sucks. Thank you for the 5 there yourself, Apo. So, piloting, I think we started the discussion. I think the general consensus in chat was to set a device limit. This may not work for everybody. George, who uses 6 devices, I use 4. I would gladly take that down to 2 or 3. Not a problem. But I think everyone...
Technically,
Go ahead.
I can bypass it. For example, I can just download the app to connect to my gaming server from on my phone, right? Same on my iPad.
Yep.
But that just means you can't stop by a simple $10 server, all the piloting issues we have.
That's adding another layer of complexity though to the piloting of an account, right? And there are many people that wouldn't want to do that and wouldn't want to jump through those hoops. At least
It's the issue there is that the people who are, let's say, bothering are doing this professionally. So it's just a one-time installation that's then is ready for it forever, let's say. So they can still do it. Yes, maybe it's 1 hour more work, let's say, on a day. But overall, I don't think that's a full stop breaks on piloting
no, not a full stop,
solution.
right? But I think it would
Yep.
potentially curb the, piloting groups that are having 6, 7, 8 different people log into somebody's account and make sure it's online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Can I also point one small thing? I hear the word paid pilots. There is hundreds of pilots that are happy to help at any given time for free.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just telling you also, just to let you know, it's not only about paid. I'm telling you, I am personally, I'm a content creator, you know me, I'm my own lane, do my own thing. But the reality also of it, that there is many people that for free are more than happy to enjoy the game because they love the game, but they can't play because they're not good enough. So when they get an opportunity to play in the biggest KVKs in the game, how would you say no? Gotta think about it too.
Nope, I hear you. So I don't think we're going to have a solution today. I think we've had some very good discussions around piloting today.
Yeah, very good.
Know it's
Very
a
good.
sensitive
I think,
topic for many people.
Very good. I think it was very healthy as well.
But
Zero toxic.
as long as that discussion takes place and continues to take place, maybe there are people in the community smarter than us that have a solution.
Yeah, I just want to say something. When you were away, Denki also was here. Denki, when he said he was big fan of the 8-hour break, and we gotta see this why the 8-hour break is a good thing, because this gonna literally eliminate the problems talking about, because everybody can free themselves for an exact amount of hours of the day, allow the day off, plan it properly or something, because we're gonna have 12 hours or 16 hours of war But after that, everybody getting a 6-hour sleep because there is no, or 8-hour sleep because there is actually no war, nothing.
So
You get up after 8 hours, everything back again.
so let's
that was
just
also-
let's just say that 8-hour downtime is during my workday.
Yes,
When
exactly.
when am I going to get sleep then?
We see it at the beginning of KVK. We can vote. I think this was. Oh, sorry. Someone said in the chat was at the beginning of KVK. If the whole part votes, you know what I mean, like a voting for a downtime period.
I
Yeah,
have a
let's-
question on this one.
Yeah.
How has what is called game updates impacted all of you? 3-4 when it took 3-4 hours middle of Kingsland.
Oh,
I thought they were like
useless
very
time.
nice breaks.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man. They're amazing.
Nap
Healthy
time.
for the person.
So
But
I
useless
guess
time in the
maybe-
game, like, it's not very active. You know,
Oh
from
yeah, no,
6.
let's say like the full updates when we can't even log into the game.
Mhm.
Those are usually, I mean, I'm very happy about those, right?
Me too, because it's a
Especially when
break
they are
time.
exactly
Have a shower, get food, sleep, nap.
get food. And
Imagine
you're not
that's 8
thinking of-
hours.
even if it's maybe a slightly less good experience to the players, I believe having a explicit breaks for leadership would make them slightly less burnt out. Because even if when I go to sleep, deep down in my brain, I'm still thinking of what if they burn this and they do that and do that, and not in 77 we have many leaders who lead the war at the same time, right? But having that 8 hours explicit breaks where nothing can actually happen, it's really nice.
Queen says yes. Leadership breaks. I mean, I'm in full
We didn't even
agreement
talk
there.
about the leadership at all.
We
We don't even take into consideration.
we have, what is this, 3 times 4? We have 12 people here who I would not hesitate for 1 minute giving R5 to so that I can get a nap, but most kingdoms aren't like that. Yeah, red
Okay,
line.
it's a healthy. It's good that you see we started these opinions. Now these opinions, people are gonna start discussing it, and then one of them gonna become the favorite, and then maybe we start. This is the whole idea. It's only brainstorming ideas, putting them out there.
Yeah, and comments will be turned on at the end of the stream. Comments will be turned on if anyone rewatches this or has other opinions that they want to give. And I will be sending the entire live stream to Lilith as well so that they can rewatch this. Also, see the chat and see the comments on the live stream. So, we don't want to suppress any comments, but I think we've, no offense, horse, I think we beat a dead horse on piloting for long enough. So I want to move on. Let's jump to paid cosmetic events because I think this will be a hot topic as well with that recent event. And I'm going to let Luxta start here.
Right. So I'm pretty sure a lot of us probably have the same sentiment on this.
Who
but,
chooses the time zone that gets the break?
Yeah, it's
Just
kind of
when they
like one of those
work.
things where I looked at it, I'm like, oh, awesome, cosmetics. And then I looked at it and the cost involved in getting it. And then there's no like you don't get gems, you don't get VIP, you don't get anything that's like account progression wise. So I'm like, yes, true cosmetics.
You
I'm
do
gonna
get
spend like.
You do get VIP though.
Do you get VIP? Okay. Then I take that back.
Yep.
So as far as like account progressing, like VIP is nice, but I don't know. Like I know for me, since my account and I've only been playing a little bit under 2 years, I'm looking more into like materials or things that I can like improve like the actual gameplay on my account. And so I'm not like super interested honestly in random cosmetics. Slight flex, I just hit SVIP as well. So as far as like the profile banner and stuff, I'm not really into. I'm not gonna say I actually don't mind the design as much. It's not that bad. But I guess my other biggest complaint with the event is that and not that they change this, you guys can correct me, but you buy the premium currency and then it goes to tickets that you get from just rolling, right? It's like premium currency to coins to rolling the coins, and you get tickets potentially from it, and then those tickets are supposed to go away at the end of the event. Is that correct? Like, I don't understand why they would they would do that. And if I'm not mistaken, people were complaining about tickets disappearing at the end of the event. Anyone know exactly?
Did the clams disappear? I didn't buy any of them.
Not the clams. So the clams buy the wish coins, which the wish coins then you roll and then you get tickets, and then the tickets can disappear if I'm not mistaken. I wish the event was still up, or I took a picture of it, but people were contacting me, like people that I know as well, were complaining because they were saying that the tickets were going away. Oh yeah, so Sola in chat says, my frustration is that the tickets were turned into level 1 compensation chests,
Oh,
meaning
boy.
you get 1k food. Bro, you're spending real money on cosmetics and then turn into that.
mine. Come
Yeah,
on,
that's
let's do it.
wild.
Yeah, that feels bad. So I feel like that's kind of a misdesign point. I like the idea that they're introducing cosmetics, but I feel like the cost involved for it, and there's no real. I mean, it's a flex, right? But for me, it's not. I'm not really a fan of that kind of event. So I don't know what your guys' opinions are.
So I've been taking some notes here, right? Bundles do not include gems, speed ups, or resources. Do not make it random. Suggestion to add gems to these bundles. It shouldn't be just for cosmetics. Make it attainable with max bundles. Do not keep it random. I heard people spending $700 on this and still to get that skin that they wanted, or to get the jellyfish that we see swimming around Red Lion and Astro City here.
You know, I'm gonna say something maybe very controversial. That was the most expensive event ever in Rise of Kingdom.
That might be right.
I agree. That might be right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the most expensive ever event to come to Rise of Kingdom, and this is we celebrating 7 years in September.
But do you guys mind it?
I think they are very smart marketing because people love cosmetics, and those that
Yep.
didn't have SVIP in early game see it as an opportunity to be an SVIP looking player
Well,
in early game.
And let's
Also-
talk about that too, right? SVIP was supposed to be exclusive. People who were SVIP had those backgrounds, had those extra added bonuses, and now it's available for anyone who's willing to spend money for it.
Yeah, and not only one thing. I think I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna say it here, and you hear that first. I think this cosmetic event 100% is tied with Zenith going forward. And every time a Zenith of Power event gonna finish, we're gonna see this cosmetic event coming back with a new feature or a new cosmetic that relates to the Zenith of Power. Because you can witness in front of you on the screen right now, we just saw a Zenith of Power, which the theme was aquarium, fish, water, and boom, the cosmetic event comes nail on the they hit the nail on the head, like they say, was the theme matches the Zenith City skin. Anybody with a Zenith City skin, do not tell me you didn't try to get this. Do not tell me. Everybody with a Zenith City skin wanted this. Hands down. And those that didn't get top 3, this is a game changer for them. They missed on the fishies that goes around, but now they get the jellyfish. Let's freaking go. You gotta see it, guys. This is gonna be a
What's the
repeated
difference
event.
between
Don't say everybody.
those?
Oh, majority, sorry. I shouldn't have said everybody. Sorry.
The thing with cosmetics is that inherently people are afraid to take it or not. Whether they want to spend $5 on it or they want to spend $700 on it, I mean, that's up to the players, right? It has no game impact beyond looking good. So I do think that it's a good way for a business to provide value in this way. It doesn't impact matchmaking. It doesn't impact player enjoyment, let's say. So I don't see a major red flag here, let's say.
The only other comment I'd like to go off of that is, or I guess an idea that popped in my head is, and actually what Apple brought up earlier, it being maybe the most expensive ever. Do you guys think that if they, let's just say, they did technically have a guaranteed reward, like with getting the tickets, but I don't know if it's just my luck. I didn't spend very much on the event, I'll be honest, but do you think of them lowering the guaranteed reward cost? Let's say like if $700 is the average for someone that with like mediocre or like average luck. Let's say like maybe bring that back down. Like where's the sweet spot then? Do you think that more people would actually end up buying and enrolling, right? So I think at a certain point, right, if something's too expensive, you get less players buying it, like maxing out. But then if you bring it back, then it's finding that fine line where they're like, oh, I'm so close. Like, okay, I can spend a couple $100. I can spend, let's say, even half of 700. Let's say 350. Like, is that something you guys think that would maybe do a lot better?
I personally don't care about cosmetics. So
Someone in
I
chat
thought-
actually. Oh, good.
Yeah, I thought the idea of cosmetics was behind Zenith skins, but it seems like, as Apple said, it's moving away. So Zenith skins would be the advantage a rally leader has on the 15 or 20% at this point on the skins, and that's it. And then you get the cosmetics via the event.
Someone in chat made a good point. Like also like in Valorant or a lot of these like other games, like they're very skin centric, like especially like League of Legends, things like that, right? So I think they are tapping into something that the players want. But my only suggestion maybe is to like make it more affordable so that they would have more like a wider audience willing to participate or buy those skins. So at a certain point, then you edge those players out, and yeah, you're gonna have maybe still a top percentage of people that really just want to bling out their account. I used to do this. I used to be really guilty with in like Counter-Strike and also Valorant of just buying like skins. And they're nice, but at the same time, you do edge out, especially a community like this, you start edging out the people that would spend less. So maybe they'd get more people to spend if they made the prices more affordable, at least for the cosmetics.
So I mean, yeah, I saw many people buying these cosmetics that don't buy things that would add value to them as a player when they're fighting on the field. And I think that's an issue. I mean, it's entirely up to them if they want to spend on it or not. When I see players spending $400 for a cosmetic on their city, and they're not even buying pop-ups, buying Mountain Warfare, buying things to help them on the field, are we playing this game just to have a city that looks pretty? I don't know. I think overall... What's that? Okay.
Overall, that's for the players themselves to manage.
Yeah.
If somebody can afford
Yeah.
to do both, they should do both.
Yeah. I think overall we're saying add gems to these bundles. It shouldn't just be for the cosmetic currency, right? Because that's all you're getting. Make it attainable with max bundles. Do not keep it random, right? If you spend $384, $400, whatever a max bundle is,
Message Arpo.
you should be able to get everything.
0 changes.
You shouldn't have to spend more than that to get all these cosmetics that were in that event. And then if you have leftover tickets, a level 1 resource chest is just not going to cut it. Increase that compensation if you have leftover tickets. Do we all agree?
Yup.
Yep. Sounds good. Sounds right.
Okay.
Yep.
Next one, George, this will probably hit you very close to home. We'll go back up to the top in a little bit here. Issue. For a long time now, forever now. I mean, Lilith at one point in time implemented I'm going to go back to my game screen here, implemented the change where you can see, and I forget where it is with this new version, right? Is it up here? No. Where do I see then?
The tiers. I think it's outside.
Outside? Where are we going?
PC. On the inside, you would have to go top left. If you go back inside, it's top left to the kills.
Oh, there we go. All right. For several years now, since October 23rd, 2019, they have broken down kills by tier levels. We do not see the same for deads. It makes it very hard to recruit. It makes it very hard when calculating DKP at the end of a KVK, especially if DKP is a contributing factor as to who gets the star at the end.
Yep.
Anyone, anything to add?
I wonder why it's not there since 2021 or 2020.
I don't know.
I do personally know multiple people who have a 1.2 million siege T1, which they kill every KVK. They get 50% back and retrain in off season. You would spend about 20 days of speed ups to get 350k T1s, right about there, without kingdom buff and stuff. I did it. I know this number because I trained for Osiris Stick T1s at the beginning, and you can cycle by doing 20 days, 20 days, and you can pump your numbers of deaths. So it is a major issue. Of course, the T1s won't matter for KVK because you can see it in Hall of Heroes, but yep, on a player recruitment level, it's very important.
Yeah, I mean, we had a KVK, just from personal experience here, where DKP was used in the end. DKP was so incredibly close between our camp and another camp, and the other camp won. And there was one player when we pulled stats for both camps that had an insane number of deads, but yet they were not in the top 10 deads when we looked at the Autric deads. And in the end, the other camp got the star. Because we had no concrete, solid proof of that player, who I believe was in the home kingdom, just smashing T1s into a city to increase that dead count. I mean, I think this would be a simple fix for them. I think the reason it hasn't been in the game, and this is just my speculation, is because they know kingdoms look at DKP for the star. It's going to cause drama. It's going to cause potential civil wars, which thus, what happens? People spend more money. But we should be able to track kill deads by tier level. Anyone disagree?
Not really. I don't agree. I don't disagree, but we have to wait to see what this new thing is gonna look like. The new kill point things. I think they upgraded it.
New kill point things?
They mentioned,
Yeah,
they
in
mentioned
the
something
update.
about reports and trying to make it so that the way I read it was that people that are like tanking a lot or have negative trades, there's like things that aren't being considered within reports, and so they're trying to figure out how to make it feel like those players are like more valuable or actually contributing. This was Apo, wasn't this in a? It was in a survey, I think, right, or something.
Was it a survey or the update? Yeah, that's what I get confused. If it's face to face with the developers or was actually update notes. Sorry.
Isn't
I want to say it was survey.
isn't that what you do already in Pro Kingdoms, George?
Yes, actually, I think tanking the score is going mainstream,
Mm-hmm.
which is very, very, very good for the game.
So let's just take a look at prokingdoms.com. There's a link in the description, or there's a link in chat as well. And walk me through this. Where do I see that, George?
So let's go to a recent KVK, for example, 2489.
Okay.
Let's search their kingdom.
And then I assume it's this one
Yep.
over here.
Yep, it's the right map. It's because less kingdoms. Yep,
Data.
data, and we go to deads and tanking, which is the second section. Here we have the deads, and we can see the tanking on the other tab. I should probably make that easier.
No, I know it's in here. I just don't use it often.
Yep. Often people use it like middle of KVK or end of KVK once a KVK. Yep.
So explain the calculation behind this in layman's terms so a second grader can understand, because I don't have a college education.
So here, what we're calculating in tanking a score is how much healing troops they've done compared to what the KP they gained. And what we count for now is all the healing troops that are done are T5s. So in that sense, you have that healing count that we also have on your player profile. It says most unit healed, and when you calculate it, you'll get the KP loss. And from there, you can see how much somebody tanked. So if you go to the study to the right section, scroll right.
Scroll to the right. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yep. Here you'll see how much somebody is tanking, which means how much forward they are in the bullfights. When you stay all the way to the back side of the bowl, you won't be tanking a lot, so you'll have less tanking score. When you go beyond 120%, which means you're giving away more KP to the enemy than what you're gaining, you'll be going all out and focusing on objectives.
So the tank.
The only other thing is about it. Can I say something? Because I use
course,
Pro
yeah.
Kingdoms a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing about it, if you have like a very strong account, for example, you Lambo, if you tank and you still bring positive reports because your account is very strong, you will still be called a snapping kills. Just for you to understand how it works as
Yep.
well. So you know what I mean, Lambo?
Yeah, yeah.
So you can tank, but you still bring positive report, even though you're tanking, because your marshals are good. You're still gonna be recognized as. So you know, you have to, you know yourself, like you know what I mean. Yeah.
What about reports that help pick up on anomalies where Diplo can flag accounts that got many deads and have provided the location and time for them to verify? So that would require them to be sending reports to leadership, which leadership would then have to study, right? I got enough to do in KVK new farm character. I don't know that I want that. I think the easy solution here is just to implement the deads by tier level.
I think on the larger scale of things, like, I think there's a lot of things that could be tweaked, like how they're trying to adjust maybe tanking scores or finding other metrics to go by. But I think a simple initial solution is just give us more data on, splitting up the different kind of kills. So I agree with that.
Okay. All right. I don't want to overly confuse Lilith when we send them these suggestions, so we'll just keep this one simple, right?
Yep. What do you mean by different kind of kills?
Different kills based off the tiers, yeah, unit tiers. Basically, just saying I agree with what Lambo was saying, brought up. Yeah.
I would love to see that tier, even though I'll be Court was my T1, but that doesn't matter. Everybody know I'm a noob.
Yeah, all these, it'll expose all these accounts Apple reviews on his stream. Oh my God, they've got 2 billion T1 deads.
Oh Lord. The only one there is some people I know they're 100% legit.
Guys, dead points. It's very easy. We can just do dead points on kill points. The thing is, I think they will have to cut off at some point as well, which they don't want to. Maybe.
Yeah, they need to
Because I
start
don't
from
think-
2025 again.
Yep. I do think they are calculating because they have been doing it for KVKs for a while. But I think maybe 2021 is the time they have to cut off. Before that it wasn't. But we've been asking for this for so long.
Yeah. I guarantee you they've got the data somewhere on the back end.
I mean, they have it in KVKs. We can see it ourselves.
Yep. And especially since they've done the top 10 Autric kills, deads. I mean, those are tier 4s in the deads for the top 10 Autric, tier 4, tier 5. They have to have the data somewhere, at least from when they implemented the top 10s. Okay. All right. I think we're all in agreement here. I think chat's in agreement here. What was that event called? The recent power event, Stride? What was it? I know 377 did it. Is it still in here somewhere?
The Supreme,
Supreme
Strife.
Strife, yes. Thank you, Queen. So let's talk about power events, such as Supreme Strife. So events like Supreme Strife rely on power to allow individuals to participate. So in my opinion, this should be open to people from more power levels, right? It's very, very hard for lower power players to join a team that doesn't have a ton of players at 120, 130, 140, 50 million power and plus. They're going to run out of troops very, very quickly in an event like this. My suggestion here would be to, like they have Ark of Osiris, right? You have the silver battlefield and you have the golden battlefield.
That's it. You nailed it.
So, maybe they limit the golden battlefield to players that are 120 million and above. And they have the silver battlefield for players that are 120 million and below.
And may I ask a question? Why we're not making it based on skill, giving everybody 50 million power or a 200 million power?
We're
And
going
make
there
it a
next.
tournament.
Yep.
That's another suggestion. Like the balance mode, you know?
Do you think that actually having like fully balanced, like balance mode and everything, do you think something like this would be like, I understand it'd be fun, more people could play it. I'm wondering maybe there could be balance mode and non-balance mode, because the whales are going to want to play
Fair
their
enough.
accounts how it is right now.
Uh-huh.
But then maybe people could still sign up for a balance mode for the people
Fair
that
enough,
can't
yeah.
take part of the main event then.
Yeah, pretty
mean-
much like Osiris League and Grand Prix. You nailed it. Yeah, it's pretty
Within
much
the
the same.
kingdom, we need a team. Like some people go on balance mode, some people no. Is that what you mean?
And if we do that, we're gonna see the China server against the international server teams because, like the Grand Prix. So we're gonna open the door to bigger tournaments.
I think you're not within the same team, if that's what you meant, but like, let's say you have two teams and you have your big players being able to go into non-balance mode, just standard, so their power and everything is taken into account, and then there's going to be a second mode that would take on basically just balanced, like balance account, armaments, gear, everything.
So are we saying a balanced mode would allow players to use their existing commanders, equipment, and armaments, but potentially give everyone just a set amount of troops to use?
I mean,
Yes. In a way.
yes, theoretically, but like, do you how in normal balance mode right now in different events, right? It's like full balance, like everything, like
You have everything.
everything's already figured out.
As long as you have the
So-
commander unlocked, you can use it, even if it's 10000.
Is there a scenario or future where it could be possible to have like in between balance mode? Like, does that make sense? So like, only would affect like troop cap, and because like I feel like one thing in this game people take a lot of pride in is, well, especially in like an event like this. Let's say if I'm a lower powered player, but I put a lot of pride in my gear and my armaments, and I feel like I have a good like, maybe I'm better than the average player. I'd want to be able to use my investment and use my account for what it's worth. That's how I feel about like the balance mode stuff. So
Summer is dead weight, that's all.
is there a future where a balance mode could be essentially just some things are balanced and maybe not gear? I'm just throwing it out there.
So we have a semi-balanced mode.
I just also would like to give feedback. so many people wanted to play this event, and then I spectated 3 games. And majority of this game didn't even have the full team playing. They just recruited them for power to actually get to play the event, but the team was not even. And majority of the team left like 1 hour to 2 hours.
Yeah, lots. I mean, even Redline ran out of troops here.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. You wanna give us a frenzy mode? We don't have 30,000 players with 1 billion power, if that's what we're trying to create. But you can make us all with 1 billion power and give us the experience.
That'd be pretty chaos, or like a lot of chaos, but a lot of fun actually. That kind of loops into Car's note in chat or comment saying Supreme Strife is exhausting. 4 hours is too long. Like in the current state, right? 4 hours is way too long, especially to what you just mentioned.
Matches was other in 1
So
hour.
like, either they balance it out and make it so it's like a 2-hour event, maybe.
Yeah, it was perfect for New Zealand. That's correct. 4 hours a day was perfect.
So yeah, Leo said the times were not good for a lot of players, which is why some didn't show up. My suggestion would be to allow the individual maps then to vote on a time. I don't know how the voting was done on this one. Bad Queen, you might have to chime in here. Bad Queen was running a team for 2377. She wouldn't allow me on it though. Oh, everyone.
5 teams voted.
Everyone on the map voted for the time, so it wasn't like a global vote. All of them were like at 10 a.m. or at 10 UTC. Each map voted. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we'll strike this out of there.
You know, I was saying 4 hours is not a lot, but then someone on my stream told me I work in the weekend. Shut me up very quickly. Well, you know, because you gotta consider everybody.
Yeah, but doing this during the week, I don't think participation would be nearly as great.
Also, 4 hours, we have to consider that people have ARC, Grand Prix, and they are probably sometimes in KVK too.
Maybe more than one team in one camp could be more fun as well. I don't know.
I mean, I would say then, if you're gonna have a problem with Grand Prix, if you're gonna have a problem with ARC, if you're gonna, I mean, if it's up to the individual teams if they want to sign up for it or not, right?
Maybe it's a KVK type
My 2 cents.
when
there.
we only play on the weekend, 4 hours. So basically, the KVK name would be Supreme Strife, and we only play on the weekends 4 hours. And yeah, and then somebody wins. So it's an organized KVK.
I'm missing the point.
So basically, you don't have to do anything in between. Only on the weekends, you play 4 hours. There's fights, and by the end of the 4 or 5 weeks, which is the original model of Supreme Strife, you can the end winner of multiple weeks wins the KVK.
Oh, so
Instead
this.
of how-
Okay.
So yeah, so this would be perfect for kingdoms or people who are super busy within the week and they only want to play a few hours on the weekend.
Someone in chat mentions so new farmer or new farm Akar. Sorry if I butchered your name. Maybe only allow off-season kingdoms to participate. The only issue with that is that you're cross kingdom, right? With applying, it still could be done, and that's originally how I thought they were gonna do it. Is just have it as like an off-season activity, since off-season is pretty boring. But I think that introduces other issues with like forming teams with friends and stuff like that. But on the other hand, if your friends are on the same off-season time as you, that could work. But there's other issues they'd have to solve.
I think the biggest issue is that it's a power event mainly for Krakens at the present time.
I think we should poll and ask people who played what was their starting power and how much time did it take for them to finish the troops.
Okay, good feedback. So anyone in chat that played Supreme Strife, what power did you start at and how long did you last? Tell Apo to check his Discord. Leo's in my chat, Apo, telling you to check your Discord.
I don't have my Discord open, bro. Oh my god.
Bad Queen says that she ended at 111 million power, but she was building flags for 2 hours straight. 135 million down to 108 at the end, but Josh was 30 minutes late to his. Carr went from 142 to 76 million. Carr zeroed himself. I know Redline did too. He went from 143 to 76. King Schmuck 105 ended at 87. Lasted 2 hours. Bad Queen was at 86 million at the end.
Leo Arpo is off the clock. Stop by later.
When Apo is off the clock, he'll stop by later. Okay. So I think basically what I'm seeing in chat is that the zone was too big, or that the map was too big, and that it should maybe be reduced to 2 to 3 hours.
Hey, let me see something.
Yeah, I think that 2 hour mark feels about right, because I mean 4 hours, like I'm very competitive in gaming and stuff, so like a 4 hour gaming session is not crazy, right? But if you are a responsible adult or if you have other things going on, I feel like that 4 hour mark it can be like borderline too much, because especially if you have other stuff going on, right? Like other people, I saw in chat someone had to scroll up a little bit, but they were mentioning that they had Grand Prix practice right after, right? So like balancing time and stuff like that, and 4 hours is kind of like maybe too long. I think 2 to 3 is probably, like for me, 2 hours is probably what I would be suggesting, but 2 to 3 is not bad. Definitely needs to be a little bit shorter.
So if they shrunk the map size a little and reduced it to 3 hours, I think it was Bad Queen that said maybe the percentage of deads is less and lower power players could then play longer. And by lower power players, I assume she means Redline at 144 million power.
Certainly.
King Schmuck ad pass is saying first 2 hours. Force Kingdoms to fight 1 versus 1. Bad Queen is saying, oh, she's in a kingdom with Hope and Lion, right? So for her, low power is under 150 million.
1v4, yet we ended up finishing 4th. New moon face rainbow flag skull.
The Dark Gate Team Souls were the MVP of SS. It was a 1v4. We ended up finishing 4th. Okay.
What the funny, dude?
I won't go there.
Leo saying 200 million players was zeroed after 3 hours with the GT for reference.
Yep.
200 hours.
Yeah, 89 backed out. I mean, 89 advanced, right? That's because they kept a circle. But they didn't even push toward the middle because they were done dancing after a few hours.
That's interesting because this one didn't include like forever deads, but the next ones will have people get forever deads, which is the tricky part.
Forever deads if they go above that 5 million, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Or they made it 10, or you pay to get 6. There was something like that.
Can I just say this is the longest Apo has gone on Lambo's stream? Just saying. Queen says spamming 200 flags. Yeah, and
what the heck was this guy?
Bad Queen, I think that's what we saw in the 60 GT event, right? They got to the middle first. As soon as they took the middle, they were able to build flags surrounding it. So maybe a solution there would be, okay, you cannot build flags off of the circle, or you cannot build flags off of the middle structure itself. If you're going to surround it with flags, you literally got to build flags around it.
Good point.
Over 5 million will be permanent deads unless you pay. They will have scrolls for 1250 troops back that you can buy. Oh, no free-to-play player is going to like that. I hope the gold chest made up for the bullying Appo.
Load up for the bully.
Continue to bully me.
Keep bullying them if you keep buying gold chests, he says, Josh. All right, so we got some good feedback here. I mean, we're what, two hours in, and we still have a couple things to
pretty
touch on.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
I think easy enough daily help cap. I think everyone wants this removed, but
There was a reason it was implemented. They wouldn't come back and remove it.
that was the bots.
Stop botting. Simple.
I
Yeah.
think
And
they
it's
solved
now
them.
there's more bots than in the past. So you can imagine how bad it's gonna be. Let's even don't go there.
But
Let's be
didn't they
honest.
remove it? They made auto help now, right?
Yeah, the celestial guidance from the new tech gives you 30 instant, but it doesn't give
But
you.
that doesn't give you
it doesn't
extra
raise the
help.
cap. Yeah, the
Yeah,
cap is
exactly.
what is it? 1,000 helps per
1,000,
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
in a normal day, I fight in a good boar. 4 hours in, I'm gone. 2 hours in, I'm gone. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, but that solves the problem of botting. Like, let's say you remove the cap and you get auto helps unlimited, so everybody will have max. Well, then the difference of speed ups becomes big. But yeah,
if you are counting that everyone does max tech to that point, because it's later in the tree, and it costs
Yes.
2.2 million crystals, if I'm not mistaken, to research. So like it is like one of those big nodes that is a higher investment.
boy only.
So yeah.
oh yeah,
So like that would be so like I guess my concern and with what Appo's saying is like, okay, let's say a botting is a problem, like it's like would it still be a problem because people aren't going to be necessarily going to that extreme? Maybe if you're a low spender, right? Maybe you won't get that. So then maybe there'll be that might push prevalence of bots and to spam help. I don't know. I'm just trying to like play both sides here.
So what if they move the hospital crystal tech, the healing crystal tech, to earlier in the tech tree?
It would be
The
cheap
healing-
overall. Like we spoke about it. That was one of the recommendations that we recommended in the tech part.
Yep.
I think that's good, but it also like regardless, let's say like so if let me make sure I understand this correctly, right? So if you do a small amount of healing and you get that that help, it still counts against your total helps, right? So changing the cost of healing,
You're right.
while
You're-
it's a good thing,
Spot on.
it won't change the cap. Yeah. Which I do think should be done also. I definitely think that moving healing, maybe especially with new tech where there's larger armies and stuff like that, I think that healing tech could be moved a little bit earlier. But like I have this written down, like what happened if they removed the cap? That might be a problem because I know what was it, Gosu in chat earlier was saying about like limiting speeds for Imperiums and stuff like that. Like that unlocks this whole like speed saving sort of element, right? Because you're getting a bunch of helps. So what if like instead of it being fully removed, what if they just increased it to like 2,000, right? Because like Alpo said, if I fight for 4 hours or even less and I go hella hard and it's just like back and forth, or just a really bloody KVK, I might go through my helps, 1,000 helps within a couple hours, 2 to 4 hours. So if they even just increase that to like 2,000, just to, you know, make it a little bit better, like that's gonna give me another like 4 hours of fighting. Like that definitely would be a huge huge benefit. But I know a lot of people are quite unhappy that the helps just seem to run out. It's like every KVK I hear, uh-oh, my help's already gone. You know, so
I don't notice. I can't remember last time I waited for 30 helps or healed in small batches.
Believe you.
well, with new tech, you wouldn't care about that because
I have the
you
same
just click
attitude as
and
you
get
now.
it. Yeah, I mean, for me, I was like, shoot, I spent over 80 billion resources, and like thinking about how much resources and the speeds, I haven't calculated, but it's ridiculous too. Like how much I would save with just having an extra 1,000 helps per day it'd probably be a decent chunk.
So they limited the helps because of bots, right? Are we saying bots are still a huge problem in this game?
Even
Yep.
bigger.
Even
What they
bigger.
used to do, right? Since I'm new to this game, someone correct me, but they would have a bunch of them set up in an alliance. You just join, heal, they'd auto heal, right? Or even in the same alliance. Is that right?
Yep.
So yeah, I think nowadays with the botting, it's definitely more botting issues now. It might be something that's just added as a feature, right? If they were to completely uncap it.
100%. It's a major problem as well. Hells and Sanjolene, welcome. Habibi.
So the root cause of why they limited helps was because of botting. And if they had better detection of these bots, they could, in theory, eliminate the bots and deal with it that way.
Yeah, are we talking what, 3 years ago?
I mean, I don't. The last KVK I saw accusations of bots being used was when I was in 1052 and we were playing against 1254.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't pay enough attention to it now. There are certain kingdoms that are known for their insane ability to fill flags. I'm not going to name names, but I never thought that
I
they
was
would.
talking about more the like resources and a lot of things like that also. Not specifically wartime. You know what I mean?
I could care less about resource botting. For me,
okay.
Honestly, myself, I don't use bots. Let me be clear. I don't know anyone in 1029 that uses bots. Let me be clear.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm more concerned about people who may use bots in KVK to consistently fill flags.
Yeah, I'm not really to be honest, I'm not 100% familiar or aware of this.
That sounds pretty hard to me as well. I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
I'm sure at some small level it probably exists, right? Because automation, like I do automation for work, right?
Yeah.
So like if you're doing a repetitive task and you can do it over and over and over with like very precise constraints, if someone just sets a city next to a flag, right, that sets up like a very repeatable thing. So I have a feeling it's being done at some level, very small though. I haven't heard any major issues though.
I can't even look. You think about it. The way you can reinforce, you have to click on the flag and reinforce. You can't do that because the amount of march is on it. The second option is you click on alliance, and then you click on rally, and then you reinforce it through the alliance menu. But when someone's scouting it, it moves it down and up. I don't think this is possible. So yeah, I think what I was saying is more that around that resources side of things for trolley and stuff. That's what I noticed when I restarted the game. It's one of the challenges I've noticed. So many people using some random softwares that doing some weird stuff that I didn't even know existed.
Okay. I think in the interest of time, we're going to skip Osiris League and Grand Prix.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's better to reset.
Like
That was very good.
we're suggesting that they double the help limit at the present time.
Yes, sir. As minimum. That's not even like.
Yeah, I think that's a nice small step.
Yep, that's nice.
Easily implementable, and it's not going to cause a lot of issues that I could foresee at least.
And can you just add to that also, just before we move on here, just when it took place, there was like so many people. Right now, like you gotta look at the number of the community players. You know, you're punishing the small numbers of people that really enjoy the game, love the game, want to fight for longer, want to have fun more. They have to spend more speed ups, they have to spend more resources when you could simply just make it easy for us because the community is not 3 million, is it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. All right, next item. Let's hit on KVK rewards quick. That should be easy. George, I know you brought this up earlier.
Yep. So many of the problems would be solved when removing the incentive to do stuff. Also when adding incentive. For example, when you remove the incentive of botting, let's say you open an auto help for everyone for free, there's no need to create help bots. Also, in the incentive of KVKs, when somebody's losing KVK but the rewards are so high that it's worth to get the map, for example, to S tier, like they did, they would still fight. But I still think the S tier rewards are not enough. So, no matter what diplomacy people get in a KVK, if the specific rewards are good enough and worthy of their investment, because it is an investment people are making of time and money, both in Crystal Tech. If the rewards are good enough and they get to play and enjoy with their friends, why not, right? Sometimes when you're in absolutely losing position, like we were in 2377 last KVK, in a 3v1 with multiple Imperiums against us, we still enjoyed it to the end, right? And now imagine if the rewards were higher, more players could afford to do that.
Okay, so what type of rewards? And the one thing that comes to my mind off the top of my head is those purple equipment chests that we get. I don't need those.
I was going to make a comment. I was going to say Lambo's going to talk about purple equipment chests, and I
Yep.
totally agree. Yeah. Like, my solution to specifically for those is why don't they give us like a choice chest, like a ward chest or something? That's a little bit more generic. Like if your early game account, you really want to have like get purple equipment, and that's the only way you're gonna get it, then that's fine. But otherwise, like let me convert that into maybe even just like white mats, green materials, right? Or I mean, speed ups could be one thing, but that could be maybe giving too many speed ups, right? But I was even looking at the general KVK rewards. The speed ups are very like they're like 1 hour, 3 hours. Like they're not like the amount that it takes to put in to get the achievements in general are they're all really low anyways. So I don't actually see why they couldn't just up the rewards, like the amount of speeds you even get back, the amount of rewards from the general achievements.
That's true. How many days do we get? Like 3, 4 overall, combining research, building, and training.
It's
About that.
it's not worth it.
Calculated that.
I mean, I'll be honest. This last KVK, we pulled out when many of our players hit that 30 million kills. It was just not sustainable for us. And then we had players that still wanted 10 million or 15 million to get some rewards, so they did some sporadic fighting here and there.
Yeah, I like the addition of the S and S Plus that kind of revolves around this because I've noticed it really promoted a lot of fighting. And I feel like if they can just expand on that a little bit, then like give other opportunity, kind of like what Horse was saying, to incentivize fighting like that. Like I'm pretty sure in general KVKs would feel more balanced as well, like even just at a base point, because people are more willing to put in the time and to fight and stuff like that as well. I know in my last KVK here, even though we lost, we ended up getting S plus a few hours after Kingsland, and we just kept fighting. And even though we lost, like it was so much fun. Everyone was like super excited to get the large amount of gems and everything back. So I think more of those kind of rewards like would be
Yeah,
super beneficial on it.
Leo mentioned also here, he mentioned me, he says a great idea. He said give avatar frame for holding Zora in the end. Each KVK story has a different frame you can obtain. You know, that's actually not a bad one at all. It's actually a great idea. Why not? We have a, like KVK 1, you have a special frame. Why not doesn't continue? You know? The cosmetic stuff.
Nerd chat. Yes, it's the nerd chat. Hunky, welcome.
So,
So,
what's the end goal here? To play more, right?
yep.
Is it safe to assume like that's the main goal that we want to achieve with KVK rewards?
Enjoy more. There's
Yeah.
a lot of downtime.
I mean,
so much.
KVK is 50 days long, right? And like you said, George, it's a huge investment both in time and for many players, it's a huge investment monetarily. They should be getting something out of it, period. Whether they win or lose, they should be able to grow their account in such a way that reflects the time and money that they put into it.
Yep. And I don't know if this is only me, but sometimes I really like impossible situations. Like absolutely losing situation, trying to make it a win. But for people, for example, let's say in 1029's KVK, trying to win that KVK would create such an immense community sense in 1029. But the game should provide those areas of exploration, right? Let's go all in. But you know that after going all in or something, you don't have to quit your account because it's just impossible to recover.
Or do back skips.
Or do max skip for 6
Right?
months. Yes.
I mean, you have real KVK, you know, you have half the kingdom that went ham like Luxta did in his last KVK where he was using gems, you know, the final day to heal all his troops. And, you know, you have people that go hard that are saying, okay, we need to max skip. And generally those are your whales. You know, I don't ever want to max skip, but there are KVKs that we have had that I'm like, okay, if we go into a KVK right away, yeah, I'll be launching Mimi rallies with one troop. If that's what you guys want to do, then fine. But I cannot open field with 7 marches if we go into a KVK immediately after this one ends.
Yep. And I do see that they're trying to help on the recovery, like adding level 40 barbs
I agree with you, Legion.
at home.
Yeah.
I just don't think it keeps up the face of, let's say, fight inflations we're having.
I had been advocating for high level barbs and high level forts for 2 years before they did it. I just want to put that on record.
Legion also said in the chat here also regarding the reward. He's saying the only main for reward in KVK is the coin. The problem is not the KVK, it's the unbalanced camps that makes the problem, which is also circling around the same number one problem that we spoke about, which just shows you that so many problems related to the matchmaking.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. If it's not a good matchup, that's not incentivizing people to fight. Whereas, like George was saying, if you increase the rewards to incentivize those people to fight, you know, maybe they're going to fight if the writing is on the wall as to who's going to win the KVK at the start or not. Absolutely. Good points from everybody. I think overall, we want to make it easier for people to go into the next KVK, to grow their account, even if they're losing a KVK, and continue to play this game rather than being absolutely crapped on in a KVK and not being able to recover before the kingdom goes into another KVK. And I'm not saying give everyone 1,000 days of speed ups back when they come out of KVK. That's not feasible either. but make them work for it, right? Increase speed ups for certain rewards. Add more gold universals and armorless chests to help people grow the account. You know, and I think you guys said expand on the S and S Plus rewards to incentivize top tier fighting from start to finish. Anything I missed? Anything we need to add here?
I feel like this section is golden.
Okay. I'll add some more verbiage on the bottom here before I send this over to you guys. All right, last but not least, and Apo, I know this one is near and dear to your heart. With 377 recently participating in a KVK, and I will switch over to my itty bitty baby account here. Coalitions and early KVKs. What is the actual issue?
Okay. I played this game for 5.5 years, and then I decided to create a new account to restart the whole journey with new players, old players that want to do it again, all fun and games. We had to come, all from different lives, come together, agree on things we never discussed before. Long story short, there is always conflict in the starting kingdoms, and they have a lot of problems in the starting kingdoms. And let me tell you, if you don't know, 70% of the starting kingdoms suffer 50 to 70% of the starting kingdoms suffer civil war. So after you already dealt with civil war, you already clean the kingdom, you already have one king, you go into KVK, you have 2-3 alliances, the game doesn't allow you to have a coalition, which means you can't share rewards at the end of KVK. Every alliance plays for itself. It doesn't reflect that Rise of Kingdom is a kingdom vs kingdom. It sounds like it's an alliance vs alliance. And what the issue, the core problem, is when we play KVK 1, 2, and 3 without sharing the rewards as a team, one kingdom, you'll find a lot of people that tell you, well, I'm not getting the reward, I'm leaving, or I can go somewhere else, which it breaks kingdom. So if you're trying to build a 2-3 kingdom, 3 alliance kingdom, you're going to have a conflict when it comes to KVK because of reward. If they give us the opportunity to build a coalition, like Season of Conquest, so we have a healthy kingdom, KVK 1, KVK 2, KVK 3, we actually able to compete KVK 5 because every account in this kingdom was awarded the rewards, everybody got the rewards, everybody's ready. But right now, the game does not reflect that we are building kingdoms. It makes you focus on alliance, KVK 1, 2, 3, and then KVK 4, you start to recognize, damn, we only want alliance kingdom. Yes, because the game does not help you maintain 2 and 3 alliances. So I think coalition is not even a question. I think this is the game was created. How the game it is right now. Just for you that don't know, the game never had a KVK. For you that never played that game before this, the game never had a KVK. So kingdom vs kingdom was never in existence. You always played in your home kingdom and run around, attack each other, play fun. When KVK came, that was a new thing that came to the game. What they didn't change, that they didn't make sure that now the whole game focus on creating a kingdom. No, the game focus still on the old concept from 7 years ago when it came out, that we still alliance built focus. But when we go to KVK, I need to see coalition. This is a really close to my heart one, because I am, my friends and my brothers, and sisters in the council, we suffered from this. We had to have hard conversations and stuff for nothing. When we actually don't have conflicts, it's just the conflicts created itself because of the mechanism the game put in, how the game works in the early KVKs.
So what I've written here is KVK 1, 2, and 3, when no coalitions exist, create conflicts between alliances in early KVKs. This leads to people leaving newer kingdoms if they are not part of the alliance that is getting the rewards. Cooperation is needed between alliances to win a KVK. Multiple alliances and members in those alliances then deserve the end rewards when a kingdom is successful in early KVK formats.
Yeah, and that answers the question. Lots of people say there is no new kingdom, the game is dying. I refuse that statement, and I will refuse it until I stop playing this game. I don't care. The game is not dying. The things that happen in the game make the people quit, and I proved it. 3777 is the biggest. Everybody told me, you remember Lambo, you're a clown, you're dreaming, that will never work. You think anybody plays this game? Well, look on the screen. We have 5 or 6 alliances with 1 billion plus. This is real. So many people keen to play this game. So many people keen to invest time, money into this game, but they only do this when they find a reasonable environment. You can't give people a reasonable environment if the game does not help you create this environment. This is the truth.
Yeah, I always found it really weird. Like, when I first started, I was like, everyone's fighting basically for themselves. And then finally, like, you know, you take your home kingdom, like the middle statue, which I don't know why the name is escaping me right now, but you take it, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now we're trying to build everyone, like, try to work together. Like, it was just like, I didn't pick that up right away, because like when I started this game, I hopped in with like knowing like 0. And it was like weird that civil war was happening, everyone's fighting each other, and then it's like people told each other to stop and then, you know, work on it. So I don't know, I do agree. I think there should be something within the early game that kind of revamps and like guides the player, like tells them, hey, this is like how, you know, a kingdom is supposed to operate in a sense, right?
No, it makes sense, you know, and I agree. A lot of these. So my Discord is not very active, but on a daily basis, in the recruiting section, there is post after post after post for jumper groups. And there are times when I'm bored that I just go back and I follow up on those jumper groups. And I would say at least 70 to 80% of them die within 1 to 2 months of them jumping. You know, and I can't agree with you more, Apple. It's probably because of the early game conflicts, disputes. You know, we want this sanctuary, we want that sanctuary, we want this shrine, we want that shrine. And then KVK, which alliance is taking the zig at the end? The kingdoms that are successful, such as, you know, 377 appears to be, only 1 KVK under our belt. So, you know, we can't thump our chest quite yet, but, and I say our because I have a 15 million account there, so I can do that. You know, I'm sure there are people that are just disgruntled because they didn't get any KVK rewards. Now, you guys did it right? You took all the players that participated, that had the highest honor, and you moved them into that one alliance so that they could get into KVK rewards. But I'm sure there were still players who were in other alliances that are like, man, I really, really want these too. You know, I need these to help my account grow also. And I'm not one of them. I didn't do jack in the KVK. I was ready to build flags and ready to fill rallies, but there was no fighting. You know, so I'm like,
But Lembo,
it's all good. I understand, but.
you know how this problem gonna evolve when KVK2 comes? This is gonna be the shocker. The only team that holds the ziggurat gets to get a legendary inscriptions. This is I don't want to say bad words, but this is like the worst punch you in the face you can do to a kingdom that's trying to be a prime starting kingdom with a 3-4 alliance. You telling them, we don't care. Simply. I'm being honest, bro. If that doesn't happen and we see changes, bro, it's gonna be like, I'm honest, this is one of the things I'm rallying behind like crazy. Coalition KVK1. If that doesn't come to the game, it really make me sad. Because it's clearly a problem, and when I see a problem that really burns me, I just can't stop it. You know, I'm so honest, you know. So many people quit this game because of this problem. So many people don't play this game because of this problem.
So here's a question I've always wanted to ask. How many players in 377 are brand new to the game, and how many of them are playing on a second account?
There is a very small number of them playing on a second account. Very small number. When we started the project, there was an insane number. You know, everybody was excited and let's go, bro, we're gonna come and help. But you know, when reality hits, when they start realizing, damn, man, that's a responsibility. It's a second account. And let me tell you, it's a very hard decision. Like one of the hardest decisions I have to make the second account, because I hold myself accountable. It's not easy. But that said, so many people that had two accounts decided they don't want to do this journey. but we still have good number of them. But I don't think they will succeed. Succeed the 25% to 30% mark. There is a lot of new players, so many new players in this kingdom, and they loving it. They loving it. And you know what? Also, there is a lot of returning players. They played Rise of Kingdom long time ago. They quit, and they found an opportunity that they could find a kingdom that it's cool, respected. At least you have a good chance. The possible good chance was what the game mechanism can offer, and they decided to start an account. And
Makes
that's
sense.
how you build. How it started. Yeah.
So let me read Legion's comments here because I think they're pertinent to the discussion. He says the KVK 1 through 3 rewards seem to be centered around forcing kingdoms to be one alliance for a season of conquest. Then KVK 4 is around bringing these one alliance kingdoms together in a camp. I would assume that this is a design choice to prevent the 4 to 5 alliance Imperium kingdoms of old, impossible to balance and very heavy on Lilith during KVKs with lag, etc.
That was the ultimate answer, brother. Wow.
I mean, yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's
Me too.
They
Wow.
don't want
Blown away.
they don't want 1093s in KVK4 with 4, 5, 10, 11 billion alliances. It makes perfect sense. But you still want to reward those players for participating in KVK 1, 2, and 3. And it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to manage and keep a kingdom together and keep that community. We keep talking about community in this stream, right? Keep that community vibrant.
Exactly. How can I put my face out there and say, this, and then people come and tell me, blah, blah, blah. But what can I do? I played, but I didn't get the reward. So many messages on Discord, but
Yep.
what can I do? The game doesn't allow this. It's hard. I feel like I'm blowing my own whistle, in a way. You're trying to build something very special, but nothing is nothing is helping you. Even you have a community that believes in it, you have people that believe in it, but nah. But yeah, I hope we see changes. Hey, that's why we do this. Most important part is bringing these ideas up.
Okay. So that's really all we had. I know, Luxta, you experienced some serious lag issues in your last KVK, and you're a CC kingdom.
Yeah, so I mean, that's like the short version of that is it felt worse. I heard also it felt worse than some people that play on accounts in Imperium Kingdoms. And I have a bunch of recorded video and stuff, and you can definitely see it, like a lot of glitching around. There's like every so often there's like a hitch where it's like a 1 or 2 second, which it ends up like actually just absolutely obliterating a march. Like your game will just hang, you lose control, and then your Nevsky or your Hua march or Cav march is just in the middle of the ball.
Yeah, that need a stream alone. This what you just said now, brother. I swear I'm not even kidding. That need a podcast alone. Your Cav marches in the end of the back of the murder ball. I'm not even gonna talk about that but no, you have to do a point. But may I ask you, just because when I'm streaming, I did experience some different kind of lag. I experience a lag that goes for half a second every 4 to 6 seconds. Have you experienced anything like that?
Yeah, there's small stutters and then there's larger stutters. And
they are really awful.
I don't know which causes what, but I have heard that, and I don't know if this is maybe just not maybe directed at my KVK experience, but I've heard that when there's a large amount of in-game viewers, it actually takes a toll on the actual map server itself, and people playing actually end up getting a lot of lag because of people just watching the KVK. I could see that being an issue. I don't know if that's one of the root causes or not. I don't know if that's something I've personally experienced, but I can tell you that what you're experiencing, like every few seconds, like you'll get a small lag. There's that extent, and then when it's really bad, it's like 5 seconds, and then your marcher are dead.
That's actually very crazy because, when the update got released, it was on the biggest KVK in the game when 2377 1960 happened, and there was hardly any lag. So we see that this is happening. Something definitely changed. Really, something definitely changed. Lambo, by the way, YSG available in 3777. I'm not kidding.
Okay.
That's like
I don't have any gems there. I don't spend on that account. I will
He just bought a bundle. Did you guys see him?
I did? No, I'm on my main account now.
Oh, forget it.
You think I got all these Kings Roads on my 377 account? Good Lord, man.
Forgive me.
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, damn, he's court, and he doesn't even see it happening. No, but that's quite sad to hear that there is actually like coming back. That was one of the things that we moved past.
Yeah, I know they tried to implement some like power saving and like performance increase on like the actual like mobile client.
Too complicated, fuck.
Yeah, there's a bunch that has to go into. I would be interested in to see if they actually. I might even reach out to support just to see if they've. And if I don't know if they'll tell me or not, but to see if they looked into that, the spectators or like external factors than the actual active KVK server. But yeah, it's unfortunate because people spend a lot of time, a lot of money, and then when it's like not even a skill issue at that point, it's literally the server. You're fighting against the servers. It becomes unfun very, very quickly. So.
Yeah, and Run VPR says he thinks Lilith may dedicate more of their service to managing the bigger KVKs than the smaller ones.
Yeah, actually, Run earlier said that he's part of Fame, which is 3517, if I'm not mistaken. We actually versed in those last KVK. I don't know if you guys also experienced the same thing, but there was just like seemingly a ton of lag, especially in Kingsland when the big ball fights and stuff like that. Maybe if you can comment on that, that'd be interesting to see as well.
So he was in your KVK run. Did you have the same lag issues that Lux experienced? I did tell you to stay off of those.
This guy, Ram VPR, speaking, what he sees kind of makes sense, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
We joked about that.
I don't even know this stuff, bro.
You weren't on Mad Mania's recommended websites when you were playing KVK, were you, Luxter?
Bro, I stay far away from his Ain't no way I'm trusting any of his recommended.
But,
why we having this podcast because we brought Mad Mania. Sorry, guys, I have to say a story about Mad Mania while we're at it. Forgive me, Mad Mania, I love you, guys. One time I was, I only know Mad Mania for like literally like early. No, I don't know Mad Mania for so well. Just just meet each other. And then within a week, he sent me a picture on Discord, and he told me, "Yo, bro, go check that picture." I kid you not, team. It's a coffee mug.
I've seen it, and I'm gonna go blind from seeing it.
I swear to God, I don't even know. Oh my God, bro. A naked man, bro. On that, and then it's like a naked man, bro. But it's like worse, you can only imagine. And he sent that to me, bro. Like sent that to me in a picture. I'm like, what the, And he was like, I'm gonna put this mug next to your boom boom mug. From that day, I was like, this guy gonna be my good friend. Bro, he was so funny, bro. So hilarious, this dude, I swear to God, bro. He can't. Mad Mania is so funny, bro. And he has no filter, which makes him very special.
It was very hard for me to have a filter during this entire discussion.
Oh my God.
I don't think I have gone 3 hours without swearing since I was 12 years old.
Oh, well, that was very professional, though. I think I was so happy to see very familiar faces on this stream coming to give their opinion as well. I appreciate it.
And I think we've talked about everything we're going to talk about. I'm going to clean up these notes. It probably won't be today. I got to get to bed soon. I work at 3 a.m. And I'm an old man. So I will do my best to clean these up tomorrow afternoon, probably while I'm watching Apo stream. And then I will get the notes out to Luxta, Apo, and Horse so that they can review them and make sure that I did not miss anything before I post them for the community and send them to the development team and the community managers.
Yeah, and I'm looking at my private messages here. If I'm gonna say, and they also can happy to put these notes forward to the developers and
absolutely,
if they get one-on-one time in Amsterdam. So appreciate your love, guys. Appreciate the support from the community as well.
Oh, that's true. I'll be there too.
And
really? Well, that's great. That's great.
I want to take a few moments to specifically thank George and Apo and Luxta for being here, participating, sacrificing 3 or more hours of your time today, and countless hours and minutes helping me get this all set up, discussing the topics we were going to bring forward. Your input is greatly appreciated. I could not have done this without you guys. Hopefully we can rotate more people in if we see success in some of these suggestions with the Lilith team. Again, I'm not measuring success in number of donations, although I appreciate each and every one. I'm not measuring success in number of views or number of new subscribers that I received. I'm measuring success in our actions being taken based on our recommendations. Or are we at least getting feedback to our recommendations, right? If they come back and say, nope, we can't do this because of X, Y, and Z, fine. At least we know that they have viewed it. And that's my concern right now, is I see so many people on so many different Discords, so many different websites in game saying this sucks or that sucks, but they're not bringing forward solutions. And that's the goal here today, to present the development team and the community managers with what we feel would make the game better in the long run.
Exactly. And I just would like to say, like you were saying, you measure the the success. I think this has been a success already, because getting all these different walk of life people to come together and just give opinion on basic game, it just shows you really how much so many people like us in this community. You don't have to be a content creator. Look how many people love this game and committed to this game to take time of their life as well to turn up to streams like this to give their input and try to help. And would like to also apologize if we didn't pay full attention to the chat. This is just the first one running, so we're gonna do better for that on that as well. But really, thank you, Lambo, for bringing us together. Thank you for open, for allowing to have this kind of rant in a respectful way without toxic. But yeah, I think that's been one of my, I would say, top podcast. What the? How about all this gold chest? Ah,
Josh went crazy.
Oh, sorry.
Josh went crazy.
I'm so sorry.
George, any final thoughts from you?
I just want to thank you for this amazing space where hundreds of people could express their opinions. I never thought this would be possible, to be honest. We were over 100 people throughout all this stream, which is amazing to see that we all see the problems and nobody got mad or, cursed at something. It's just opinions working out together. There's nothing better than improvement.
I will say this, though. We may have disagreed on some things, but my wife is always right.
I would like to repeat
That
after
is
that.
true.
We might have different opinion. I would like to also say that my wife is always right. Thank you very much.
Buy her flowers. Luxta, any final comments from you?
No, I think I really appreciated the space, as Horst said. I think everyone was very respectful, and there's tough topics, which I think a lot of times is hard to condense and into, okay, what is the root cause of the problem? What is the actual solutions or potential solutions, right? Because everyone has different ideas. So I think having a space like this to where everyone can come together, give their ideas on solutions, is needed. We need to condense sort of the best ideas together, and then we can do our side and show that we care for the game, and then we can give it over to Lilith, and then hope we can see some better changes. But we're all doing this for the community and for the love of the game. So thank you again for having me on here, and I appreciate everyone in the chat as well.
By no means are we saying this game has not progressed. They have introduced lots and lots of quality of life changes, made many, many improvements to this game that I absolutely love. But there's always room for improvement, and that's what we're here to discuss and brainstorm today. Now, I cannot shut down the stream without hitting this button on my stream deck.
What is the stream deck? There's nothing coming on, buddy.
Oh, it's on.
The stream deck is doing like mine. The stream deck is doing like mine, I swear. Click the button, doesn't work.
There's there it
No.
goes.
Oh, aha,
His-
really, Lambo?
Yeah.
I have that song muted. That song drives me nuts.
Boom,
Not in a good way.
boom, baby. Boom, boom, baby. Let's go.
All right, guys.
Party. Pa, 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 pa. You're gonna have to mute me now. Pa, 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 pa.
I can do that. I appreciate you guys. We'll set up another one in the near future. Everyone who tuned in on chat, appreciate it very much. On your way out, if you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. That's the only time I've asked for it this KVK. Thank you all for your participation. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you all on the next one.